This is American justice. This is American democracy. And those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy. Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail. But if you can't prove that a democracy is not hypocrisy, then don't put your hands on me. Democracy is hypocrisy. If democracy means freedom, why aren't our people free? If democracy means justice, why don't we have justice? If democracy means equality, why don't we have equality? Who are you? You don't know? Don't tell me Negro, that's nothing. What were you before the white man named you a Negro? And where were you? And what did you have? What was yours? What language did you speak then? What was your name? It couldn't have been Smith or Jones or Bunch or Powell. That wasn't your name. They don't have those kind of names where you and I came from. No, what was your name? And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he take it? What tongue did you speak? How did the man take your tongue? Where is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you as dumb as you are right now? 20 million black people in this country have been like boys in the white man's house. He even calls us boys. Don't care how big you get, he calls you boy. You can be a professor. To him, you're just another boy. I heard him calling Ralph Bunch. Well, he's a good old boy. And if we can't do it, we should hush our mouth. If you can't do for yourself what the white man is doing for himself, don't say you're equal with the white man. If you can't set up a factory like he sets up a factory, don't talk that old equality talk.
Welcome to another episode of, I believe, the Nick and CJ show. If somebody joins, we can always switch it to the RBN Live, but the Nick and CJ show. Haven't been here in a while with Nick, but what's up, Nick?
Yeah, things are about to go back to normal now. Welcome, my friends, my family. I hope you guys enjoyed our second annual General Strike Summit, our activist summit. I had people hit me up, and they was like, man, I'm still going through all the panels. They're like, man, it may take me a week. I sat down, said like, watch like 2-3 hours. I'll be every once in a while I'll look and I'll see a comment from our old General Strike video. Like people will like might be searching General Strike and they'll see our video and watching. I'll see like a comment and I'm like, yo, y'all know that video was like a year ago. But that's why I think it's a valuable source for the left. That's why I approach every conversation as like it was base level on every panel. Because I want people to be interested in these topics, get engaged, and realize that we have to be the ones that do the fight. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. You guys are going to see why the politicians are not going to save us. I'll pass back to you, CJ. Do some introductions.
Yeah, let's get some introductions out of the way before we get. It's a lot. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a lot to cover.
Like, these progressive politicians, they show up to work every day, and they're like, "How can we prove our being more correct about us?" It's going to be very interesting to watch these politician bootlickers trying to defend the weak, feckless squad that has proven us right from day one. And I was talking with Savvy. We are still waiting for the apologies for all the people that thought we were going too hard on these weak Democratic Party operatives. You guys see what we're talking about later, but go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, I'll just throw up the graphic. I was trying to find one word to kind of just sum up everything that's just gotta. Yeah, this is so funny. So, but let's do a chat check. Let's do a like check, and then we can get into the topic because this is a doozy. If you're watching right now on replay and you wish you were watching this live, make sure you join our Substack. You get notifications anywhere between 45 minutes to up to 2 hours in advance notice of our live streams. We also send out notifications for like clips and stuff like that. So you can join our Substack for that. Also an update on our subscriber. I don't think that's it. That's the last time we did. Wow, it's been a while since we did Nick and CJ because it's like 500 more than that, Nick.
Yeah.
Let me look and see.
That's why
this is the last time we did it on here.
Yeah, it's good to be back on normal schedule.
Yeah, 8:25. We actually at 8:25.
And we got some bangers coming up, guys. We have some bangers coming up. While we getting started, Glenn Greenwald joining Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So that's gonna be a bang. We're gonna talk about the progressive neocons in Congress, maybe some Brazil election talk. Should be great. So Glenn finally joined the show this week, and I got a few more banger guests I'm working on. This is a good era for RBN right now. It feels good.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially with one of the reasons why we have those activist summits, because once again we want to lead by example, show you guys how to build community. Like I had a great conversation with Ashley in the Palestinian Community Network, and even they was helping me. Like you guys saw it live on air, working on how we can do better framing on that issue. They're gonna be back. And that's how we build community. Now people, people are like, oh shit, I care about the Palestinian-Israel issue. Now I'm gonna reach out to the Palestinian Community Network, help them out. Oh, I'm passionate about disability rights. I'm gonna reach out to the people that JB out on disability panel. We are showing and leading by example how to build community. Speaking about how to build community, the community leader is in the house. This man is the greatest communist propagandist that I ever seen in my life. My man, Ron. What's up, man?
Man, shit, man, been a long ass day trying to flip these, trying to get this car in my damn name, but it's all good. I got everything taken care of, and about to get ready to push out that GoFundMe. I'm 2 days late on that shit, but I've been trying to write this grant for the library. So we're gonna try to get everything going at least by
doing the work.
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
sucks.
Yeah, if people don't know, like our streaming is last of priorities.
Yep.
So like this comes long as we're in the streets and we're taking care of the stuff, then we can do the streaming. There might be a point when we're heavily in the streets where we're not really streaming as much. So that may come too.
I still remember and Rome probably still remembers. I remember when I first got started as a citizen journalist. Like I was on Substack. I was posting like quick videos on Twitter. Then other people, it was actually people who followed me, my small original audience. It was like, yo, Nick, why don't you get on YouTube? I'm like, I guess that's another tool. Yeah. And ever since then, I realized, oh, that's just another weapon we can use. Use that against them, like to the extent that it can be used. It's not the priority, but shit. Let's run the on the ground activism game and run the media game. Show that both can be beneficial. But go ahead, CJ.
People only call people out because they are either jealous of the attention that you are getting, they know the potential that you have, and they don't want, you know what I'm saying, they really don't want you to have a better life, and they really, really, really hate progress if it ain't coming through their groups,
right,
from their hands and their work. They don't want other people making it. So if you feel like you're going to start a news organization, a podcast, whatever, if you want to get information out there, get information out there. Don't let these people get in your head, call you a grifter, call you this, call you that. We'd have been through hell and we're still going through it. There's powers above us that don't want us to be in a position that we are in right now. And we still push against all that shit because it's all about getting information out there to the people, and the people will come as long as you are doing your job. We grew tremendously in the last almost 2 years. You know, you would think that we have been here for a couple of years now, but that's just how it is. But just do it, man. Just do it. Don't worry about the niggas that's talking. You know what I'm saying?
You know how I am. I just laugh at these motherfuckers because I know the CIA tactics, man. I know the bad faith acting. Like, so as soon as I see, I don't let that shit get me down. I'm like, we're gonna use all the weapons. These motherfuckers are not gonna stop us. We're not gonna let them drag our spirits down. We're gonna keep working. And I remember when I was on the Hill, that was like a big turning point because people was like, "Oh shit, they can't debate them." So it was like, "Oh shit."
What you gonna say? You can't.
What can you do?
You can't rebuttal real life. I always say that you can't rebuttal real life. Like, this is some shit. You know what I'm saying? And especially having some black people off the chain. Like, this is one thing that a lot of white progressives, a lot of white people hate anyway. They don't want us saying, you know, death to America and shit like that. These black people are loose. We have to get them chained. We have to get them to say vote for something in any kind of way. We have to calm them down and give them our message to spread to the people, not theirs. Because if they are preaching for liberation, then my life gets worse with Black liberation. You know, all this money, all this wealth I accumulated, all this wealth that my family accumulated through these generations, and some of them even go back to slavery. These people will be held accountable. You know, these businesses, these companies, from railroad companies to cell phones, all of these people will be held accountable. And if we preaching about liberation, then that's like living in a scary movie.
Yeah, and I want to get to CJ. Anything you want to add? I want to get to the main
I was gonna say, Nick, if you could start this first story because I haven't been online. I do know what's going on. So I'm gonna be. This is gonna be new to me too. So it's like I'm part of the audience too.
So there's a certain order I want to go in because this has been a roller coaster the last 24 hours. Once again, RBN was proven correct on multiple fronts, and I'm gonna explain here soon what I mean. On multiple levels, RBN was just proven correct because the progressives, and I'm gonna go in order of the events because the order of the events is. Telling the story that way is very important because you really see how much the squad and the progressive Democrats are cowards. So the squad sent that letter. And when I first saw the letter where they was advocating for peace, so this is the headline. Progressives urge Biden to push harder for Ukraine peace talks. So for one, we got to start out immediately by saying the letter was trash. The letter essentially said we're still going to support funding Ukrainian Nazis and fund Ukraine in their proxy war, right? But, hey, Biden, can you please ask for diplomacy every once in a while? That is what the letter said. It wasn't even a powerful statement by any stretch of the imagination. Are we clear?
Nick, what if I just came to your house? What if I just came to your house when we did Tour for the Poor, punched you in your shit, and then say, hey, man, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. This is what the progressives are doing. They already funded billions of tax dollars, billions of our dollars to the Nazis in Ukraine. All of this shit is right now is just PR to get people to stop yelling at them at their little fucking town hall meetings and shit. That's all it is for them and their people to have some type of pushback. Oh, they are trying to stop the war. Look, they wrote a nice letter to Biden, a man that's going through dementia and probably can't even fucking read.
So the reason why we gotta take this story one step at a time because it escalates really fast. Because I got a few points I want to make on the way here. So why was this letter even created? So they were just going about their day, nigga. We ain't talking about Ukraine. We don't give a fuck, nigga. Everything's gonna be all right, nigga. Nigga, AOC did an interview. I know we're gonna talk about this later with Pod Save America, the bunch of shit libs, and they over here talking about burgers and fries. AOC and the squad, they wouldn't be influencers. They don't want to talk about very important geopolitical politics. Hell, the escalation of World War III, but my pay grade. I'm just trying to be on magazine covers now. I don't give a fuck about that Nazi funding this shit.
We got bunkers.
Then you want me standing against Nazi? You trying to stand against my paycheck? That's what the squad is like.
We're gonna survive the nuclear war. We got bunkers. We elected officials. Y'all niggas gonna die. We gonna be all right.
Nigga, we good. Nigga, we are good. We have security. Nigga, I'm gonna get pinned. All I do is stay in this motherfucker for 5 years. I get pinned. You think I give a fuck about burning Nazis? I'm good, bro. That's their mindset. And then the anti-war protesters and activists that was aggressive, calling them out to their face, holding them accountable with independent media, not the Nazi supporting social democrats, not the Cenk Uygurs, not the Vosh. They're not the one who put pressure on them. They are the bootlickers who they take their position on geopolitical issues, on economic issues, on strategy, on very important things based on what the politicians and Congress says they should take. So they will only go as far on the Overton window as Bernie will allow them to. They will only go as far as the Overton window as AOC and the squad will go. So they don't speak about Julian Assange. You know why? because they don't. The AOC and the squad don't. Do they talk about Mumia, CJ? Where's TYT's video on Mumia? Sam Cedar, Vosh, anyone? They don't talk about it because AOC, Bernie Sanders, and the squad don't. And I noticed when the very beginning of this conflict, I knew where I stood because I remember I said to you can still search this to this day. Right when the Ukraine conflict started, and a lot of people who had no political ideology, so they had no idea what position to take. I saw motherfuckers like, yeah, we need to arm NATO, Ukraine. I'm like, nigga, y'all are for Ukraine. You guys are for NATO. I immediately saw the TYT left, the Vosh left. These motherfuckers immediately went to NATO because they have no political ideology. They just follow whatever the quote-unquote progressive Democrats do. That is the ideology of modern social democrats. The modern social democrat DSA person will not challenge the Overton window further than the Democratic Party will allow.
And it's dangerous, Nick, because remember when when we first got information at AOC funneling grassroots money to CIA agents to help them with their
Run and
whatnot.
No, she funded another corporate Democrat. I'm sorry, wrong. But
yeah, I'm just saying, like, we called this out, and people said that we were lying. You know what I'm saying? They like you guys are lying on AOC. She didn't give CIA any money, and then when we gave these people the information, it was like, oh, well, it has to be a reason behind that because they wouldn't just do. Can you listen just for one fucking second? These people are fucking evil. They use you.
So let me get to the first part of the story because it originally came out that they was urging Biden to push harder for peace talks. They wasn't at no point was they was like we're gonna end the funding for the Nazis in Ukraine. So it was already weak. I cannot emphasize that enough. So 30 progressive House lawmakers wrote a letter to President Biden on Monday urging him to directly engage with Russia and to become more assertive in negotiating a ceasefire with Ukraine. Pramila Jayapal, and when I saw this, when I first saw this story, this should have been the red flag. Because when I was like, Pramila Jayapal, what? She never, ever does anything worth a damn.
Her
so I should have already been suspect at this point. But led by Pramila Jayapal, the Democrats asked Biden to advocate harder for peace. The very common sense position. And after they made this very common sense position, the Ukraine flag Twitter, liberal shit libs in the Democratic Party proceeded to melt the fuck down.
What you mean we're not gonna die? You don't want us to die in a war?
Bro,
what do you mean?
Nick, show me. I gotta see some of this shit, man.
I got find some examples. You find a lot.
Oh no, I thought that's what
here. If you go in this thread.
Oh my god, this people, man.
Bro, like I
don't understand.
My algorithm is really
when they
I need to dig it up. But if you
when they do act progressive, you telling me the rank and file liberals get mad? We get mad when they go pro NATO and they push back against us and find nuance. But when they push back and say, hey, keep funding them and just try to end the war, they knelt down, Nick. Is
like
that what
Nick
happened?
called out. They already said that they're going to still continue to go with the flow of what's going on over there in Ukraine and what's happening between the West and Russia and Ukraine. So it's just bullshit. It's just political theater. And you motherfuckers, like y'all motherfuckers are really into politics, but you always show emotion once your favorite part hit, or once a part come up that you don't like in this movie or this play, you always fall for it. Nigga, we all are audience, but you know what I'm saying?
Look at this.
You falling for the bullshit, bro. It's stupid.
These are the examples. I told you I didn't have any. It's so easy to find any story on this, and all of these stories were ratioed to death. And when I first read the story, I thought the ratio was there because leftists was like, "Why are you still funding Ukrainian Nazis?" But I looked into my horror. They was getting criticism not because the message wasn't strong enough, like we would criticize them for. There are a bunch of Ukraine flag Nazi sympathizing. I'm still with her.
Oh wow.
Hillary Clinton supporting shit libs, they are all like trash. This is disgusting. And right before the midterms, you want to stop arming Nazis before the midterms? No, I have another segment I'm gonna do later. The Democrats are getting trashed in the polls, and the reason why they losing, they're like, oh my god, why are we losing? You guys know, and I'm gonna show you guys a video. The Democratic Party, they are literally running on funding Nazis in the midterm. They are saying stuff like, well, you got to come out in droves and vote for Democrats because if you elect the Republicans in office, they may stop Ukraine aid. And y'all motherfuckers wondering why y'all losing? That is literally what they're messing. I got another segment we're going to do later today.
I'm telling y'all motherfuckers, stop letting your social media fool you. The majority of Americans are against nuclear war. I don't give a damn what's your political compass. So, and this is why I'm trying to talk to somebody who has a clean record. You guys don't know them. So when they call out AOC and they go around and they call out all these politicians, ain't no, oh, this motherfucker is a right winger. This motherfucker believes in this and they voted for Trump. And none of that. You want clean, you want perfect, I'll give you perfect. And watch what happens. They still gonna find a reason to sit here and take up for these goddamn politicians. Arming, dog, we are going towards nuclear war. I know you saw that video, Nick. I think you're gonna play it later, so I ain't gonna say nothing. But some more motherfuckers just called out Elizabeth Warren and Presley.
Yeah.
Warren go ahead.
Called out. And the other point I was getting to was the only reason why they was even considering putting this letter out was because the pressure that's coming from the true anti-war activists, the one who's showing up at all these town hall meetings, calling these people out to their face. So, and we're going to get to there because I'm going in a certain order for a reason, because this story is incredible. So you have the squad come out with this head fake of a letter. And then people was like, what? Remember I saw this show, I was like, the reason why I called the squad is because they're trash. I wanted to give them props if they do something that is good. The problem is they don't do shit that is good. So I was talking about this on my call, and this is why it's funny to me. Well, I was like, yo, even though they've been weak on this issue, I'll give them props if they actually stand up and advocate for peace, even if they're weak on this issue. Even with me saying that, it took them less than a few hours. So let me show you guys my tweet. And I talked about this on my call-in because I was talking about how we move officials. So this is my tweet. So after the squad, and I said this yesterday evening. So after the squad was called out to their face regarding funding Nazis and escalating World War III, they signed a letter urging for Biden to look for a negotiating peace deal in Ukraine. That is what this original story was. And this letter, they didn't make this letter because Social Democrats was like, hey, AOC, can you please explain your vote for Ukraine? Please. No, it's because motherfuckers showed up on their town hall and made it a national story. Yeah. So there's a lesson to be made here. We need to be loud and unapologetic and say fuck civility politics, because that's how we get the message out. This message will not be out if protesters allowed Jamal Bowman to pull them to the side. You know what I mean? And that's what their plan is. But let me continue, because it was only a few hours away. And this is why I read it, and this is why I'm saying, even though they're still showing this issue, because they were still advocating in this letter that we should arm Nazis in Ukraine. This is Jill Stein. Pro-war progressives call for pairing diplomatic push with unprecedented economic and military support that enables more war. If they're against the war, they need to stop the unlimited obscene funding that's throwing gasoline on the fire. And this is what the progressives, they what Kyle Kalinske do not understand. If you're funding the Ukrainian war effort, that is only upheld because it's NATO-backed. It is literally a NATO army manned by Ukrainians. Yeah. The Ukrainians lost this war a long time ago. They was wiped out a long time ago. Then NATO in the West jumped in this war, and now Russia like, holy shit, we fighting a giant known as NATO in the West. That's why they started their deployment, and that's why they start taking this shit seriously. Yeah. But they're like, all right, we already defeated Ukraine. Now we got to fight NATO in the West. That is what's happening right now. So if Ukraine did not have the backing of the West, they will be forced to negotiate. And Russia wanted to go back to the Minsk Accords and acknowledge the independence of the Donbass in eastern Ukraine that wanted to be part of Russia. And the funny thing is, everyone including Kyle Kalinske, you see his conversation on the Vanguard about this. They purposely get this shit wrong, where they say, "Oh, Russia, they just want to conquer Ukraine." In the very beginning, Russia said they want Eastern Ukraine to be independent, not even a Russian state. So whenever you follow any Ukraine coverage, any coverage that do not point that out, any coverage that pretends that Putin invaded Ukraine to take over the country of Ukraine, that is blatantly false. Now, it is true. Russia, now because they took significant losses, they find the NATO West Army, they see the geopolitical position that the Azov Battalion of Zelensky has taken. They're now like, okay, our demands are different now because now, like, the original offer is off the table. Like the Ukrainian state that's essentially a Western puppet is not going to exist anymore because of the political decisions that Zelensky made. Not because they wanted to pursue peace. Now it's too late. But anyway, Rome, I know you want to try to.
They just taking the bear, and like I said on Twitter before, like, man, you know what a real psychopath would do? I just nuke every fucking thing. I just kill all of y'all. No remorse. I have the power to do it. Who's gonna stop me? I'm sitting on more nukes than the U.S.
And this is the thing. They keep saying Russia, and I'll debunk this quite a few times. When they said Russia is threatening nuclear talks, show me the quote. I've seen the quote. Do you guys seen the quote? Russia and Putin says, "We will defend Russia, and everything is on the table to protect our sovereignty." So the reason why they take that as a nuclear threat, because the West is like, we are looking for a regime change in Russia. We are looking to obliterate the Russian state. And I'm not bullshitting. These people say they will say this stuff on MSNBC live on air. I told you guys, I've been watching a lot of this stuff. They will say live on air, we don't want any negotiated peace. We don't want no settlement. We will fight to the last Ukrainian in order to enact regime change in Russia. So Russia is like, bro, we will protect our borders. We will protect the sovereignty of our state by any means necessary. They never even say we're going to nuke anybody. But the West is like, we're not leaving them alone. So that's definitely a nuclear threat. That's literally what it is. Well,
it's not even. And look how I love the PR. I love the propaganda. You know what I'm saying? I just love it. It's all art to me in my brain for some reason. Because they said we will protect. You know what I'm saying? We will protect. Does that sound like a threat? You know what I'm saying? Like, no. When somebody is threatening you, they'll just be like, you know what, U.S., keep talking shit. I'm going to bomb y'all ass. I'm going to send nukes over there. I'm going to send drones over on your fucking land, on the U.S., right? Now, that's a motherfucking threat. Like I said, if I was in a position of power and I was a maniac that just didn't give a fuck, we wouldn't even be here right now. If Putin was the maniac and the Communist Party of Russia was maniacs, like how you guys claim they are, we wouldn't be here having this conversation right now because they would have just got rid of our ass. Why? After all these fucking generations of fighting, of sanctions, and all this bullshit, trying to, U.S. trying to evade Russia. We know they are. Look at NATO's map. We know they're trying to evade Russia. Why would they stand for this shit? If I was in that position, they would have been gone. I'm just saying.
Stand for that, Ron. What country would allow a hostile foreign power to arm Nazi militants that are purging your country of origin's language? So the Ukrainian Nazis and the fascist party led by Zelensky ban the Russian language. They're shelling the Eastern Donbass and killing Eastern Ukrainians. So people pretend, oh my God, we got to stand for Ukrainian self-determination. Which Ukrainians are you talking about? I'm talking about the Ukrainians that voted for Zelensky because Zelensky ran on a peace platform.
Yes.
And then the Azov Battalion like, nah, nigga, we will kill you, bro. We will kill you if you do that. And that has been the direction that Zelensky been following on. When Zelensky wanted peace, and then Boris Johnson, the prime minister at the time, before they started shuffling them around, he broke the peace deals up. The same way the Biden administration highly reported broke up peace negotiations that Zelensky and the Ukrainian regime was about to seek in Russia because they see how the end game is. But they got a barrel of the NATO. They got NATO aiming a gun right at their head. But CJ, what you about to chime in? I thought you was. If not, I can continue. My bad. I thought you were about to chime in, but I want to continue because I don't want this segment to go too long. Already prefaced it enough. So even though the squad is still full of shit on this, I still thought it was good because it shows that we are getting a narrative win where there's so much pressure to advocate for peace. You're seeing these weak, fake progressives head fake that. Like Cal Kalinske says, he said, I'm support funding Ukrainian Nazis up to $60 billion. Now I'll stop it. Why, motherfucker? Explore your thought process here. You want to stop their funding? Why? Because you don't support the war effort no more? So why would you support their funding in the first place?
Right.
The whole point of stopping the funding to Ukrainian Nazis, not only to stand on principle as a black man and as an anti-fucking fascist. Remember when the left used to stand for that? You know, the whole anti-fascism thing where we on principle oppose arming Nazis. So not only are we right on the peace part of this, but the part of being a fucking anti-fascist is that we don't support arms to fucking fascists. Why do we gotta explain this to white leftists, Rome? Why is this something that RBN had to explain to people?
And he should know out of anybody, but the thing is, Kyle do know. Kyle is staying in place because he know that's what brings the money, and it won't defame him, it won't deplatform him, he won't get demonetized saying that he support Ukraine, right? But shoe on the other foot, skin on the other color, niggas gonna get it, right? But in 10 years, Kyle Kalinske is gonna come out and say, hey, I got it wrong about the Ukrainian war. It turns out that we were just like all these other motherfuckers were.
A lot of them gonna pretend that you give them a lot of credit. I think a lot of these motherfuckers gonna pretend they got it right from day one.
I swear, yeah.
A lot of motherfuckers, the same way that Tucker Carlson pretends he wasn't for the Iraq war, and Donald Trump pretends he wasn't for the Iraq war. You're gonna have a lot of people like 10 years later, like, yeah, I was sounding the alarm on Nazi NATO funding. They're gonna turn to grandkids like, yeah, I was on the front line. I
was on the front line. We was killing all the Nazis.
But I'm gonna try to get through this segment a little bit faster here. Let me get to the next part, because there was people that were like, man, we know the squad is bullshit, but we can't. Like, to be honest, the thought of them sending a letter doing this was shocking, even with all the weakness. I was like, if you ask me, like, there's no way they're gonna do this. So I'll show you guys just a few examples of some tweets. But imagine what was shown on the on public, on Twitter, what was covered in the corporate news, because the corporate news melted down at this. What happened behind the scenes was 100 times more chaotic than that. I'm letting you guys know right now. That private message that Mama Bear sent to the squad, motherfucker, she probably cussed in the hell like,
you must not want your motherfucking job.
What y'all doing? Y'all get y'all motherfucking ass over here. You know they sent them a message. So House progressives retract their already weak letter. That's why I could not emphasize enough. It was already weak. And it was like they folded to the pressure immediately. Immediately. So look, here's the headline: House progressives retract.
This is the second day, bro.
So in the modern Democratic Party, it is a controversial position to advocate against nuclear war, escalating World War III. Funding Nazis, being against funding Nazis is now a controversial position in the modern white supremacist Democratic Party. Any questions?
And
DJ Roman, what does the letter say? What does the retraction say?
Yeah, we can go through it. We can go through it here.
I mean, even if they didn't retract it, what they are trying to set up is they are trying to have their cake and eat it too. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too, however you say the saying.
Look at this. This is
because in the midterms coming up, and they trying to get PR for the far left, whatever that is, that's going to vote, and the neoliberals who call themselves leftists, who's also going to vote, who also support Ukraine and war against Russia, but they can't have it both ways, and they see that.
See, this is, I should have known, man. As soon as I saw this headline, when Pramila Jayapal immediately came out like, "What the hell y'all doing? Standing up for peace? I'm not gonna have that in my progressive caucus." So, and she's a leader who immediately threw her staff under the bus. So this is unbelievable, guys. They said the letter was drafted several months ago, but unfortunately it was released by staff without vetting. You advocated for peace without our permission? And think about it. It was drafted several months ago. Why wasn't it released? What vetting process? What is the vetting process? Guys, is this the institution you guys think you're gonna take over? There's a vetting process to send out a peace letter that was drafted months ago. CJ, Roma,
who's vetting it? CJ, who's vetting that? Who you think, CJ?
Who's vetting that? They saw that letter, man. They saw that letter. Man, they don't act like they didn't see that letter. Talking about some staffer just released it. So this is what she's trying to say. Staffers for this political person, they just go out releasing statements. That's what they do without their boss telling them. They just go, "Hey, man, that thing that's been sitting on the drive for months, get that shit off and let's deliver it." Did Pramila say anything? No, but it's on the drive. Like, come on, it's so unbelievable. So, but this is what the petty bourgeois do. They imitate the ruling class, and that's to blame the worker. Blame the worker, and that's what they're doing right here. Go ahead.
Yes, they run a top-down structure within Congress. The Justice Democrats is a top-down organization, and then they blame the bottom for any mistakes. It's an unbelievably liberal capitalist way of running an organization that exposes them. Look at this is the take from Glenn. We're gonna have Glenn on Thursday at noon Central.
Glenn Greenwald? What?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this. I messaged him after this. I'm like, bro, we gotta talk about this tonight, this week. So that's gonna be Thursday. This topic's definitely gonna come up among others.
I'll hold my tongue.
In response to intense bipartisan anger over the letter they issued yesterday on Ukraine, House progressives issued a new statement vowing full and complete loyalty to Biden's war policies and full support to funding war in Ukraine without limits. In other words, bipartisan anger that progressives in House Dem caucus might have very mild critiques on Ukraine led them to immediately vow full loyalty to the leader. So the only dissent on Ukraine continues to be on Fox, parts of GOP, and small sectors of the left. And this is some example. I'm glad that he pulled some examples, CJ, of liberals melting down at this example. And I saw it just scrolling now. They keep bringing up the midterms. What the fuck does midterms have to do with anything with this? Is war, motherfucker? Do you think war stops and starts every 2 years? They keep saying
it's all strategy to them. This is all strategy, and this goes to the segment. And I don't really feel like all of what stories we're going to talk about, they're all tied together. But what we're going to be talking about later on in the stream is how they view our lives as just a strategy game. That's it. It's not. You get what I'm saying? If you don't have a relation to struggle, if you don't have a relation to pain, all you could do is read about it. So you get what I'm saying? It's just a discussion to you, and when you go home, the discussion ends. It's not you can think about it. So it is almost like a person in their position is incapable of doing the things that's needed for people because it is no relation to it. Just like we're incapable of understanding what to do for Martians. We don't have any relations to Martians and what they're doing on Mars. Like we don't have any understanding about that, but we're the ones elected talking about we're gonna help these people. But to your point, I'm just connecting the point you're making now to a point we're gonna make later.
Look at this tweet. Let me because these are some examples of the reactions that the squad folded to. The squad voted on this position because they got mean tweets by liberals. That's how weak they are as leaders. You're supposed to think about MLK and Fred. They took unpopular positions and was hated by white America. These are true leaders. The squad, they took a weak male position and got pushed back by neoliberal war hawks and immediately folded. Do they fold to our pressure?
Force the vote. Did they fold?
Nope.
Look at who they listen to, CJ. Look at who they listen to, Rome. But let me read the tweets. I keep ranting.
Yeah, go ahead.
These 30 House liberals are wrong. just like Putin lovers. So if you advocate for peace, you're a Putin lover. Tulsi Gabbard and Tucker Carlson. No talks with Russia until they completely out of sovereign nation they invaded. Russia started this war. Only Russia can end it by leaving. Russia did not start this war. Everyone who tells you that is lying. This war started in 2014.
And I wanna ask you guys something. If Russia really wanted to start war, why not just hit the U.S.? Why not just fight us here? I mean, like, fuck all the going through all this and that. Fuck all that strategy and I need more land. No. If Russia just wanted war, just wanted to just go out, why wouldn't they just attack another superpower who can really go to war with them? It makes no sense. And even if we was to leave out, what's happening now, we take it back 2014. What have y'all would have done? Because y'all claim Gaddafi was gassing his people, was killing his people, right? But when the Eastern Russian people that was living in Ukraine at the time was saying like, hey, they're killing us over here, we need help. They reached out. The people of Ukraine reached out to Russia. That's how it got started. That's how this war got started, because the people reached out to them. So what would we have? We seen what we did in Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, Iran, right? If the people were saying, hey, help me, this is what Russia is doing. They're helping their people. And if they wanted war, they would just go to fucking war. There is no, like, we all know, there is no winners in war. There is no winners in war. And even Putin said that himself. All right. If we all gonna lose, then bitch, I want war. So no, nigga, y'all motherfuckers is trying to y'all motherfuckers is trying to. Okay, look, let's do it like this. Russia leaves, NATO leaves. NATO and all of their bases that's surrounding Russia, they leave, Russia leave Ukraine, we all have a good day. How about that? That sounds like a hell of a deal. But you don't want to talk peace because it's going to come down to exactly that. NATO getting the fuck on. And they don't want that. They want white supremacy. They want world domination.
Right. CJ, what's this that you pulled up?
I wanted to swing it back to
me inside, not Gaddafi. My
bad. Swing it back to the squad, and just so, like I said, I haven't been online, Nick and Rome. So I'm just seeing my whole entire feed is just nothing but like this NATO stuff. But what I wanted to do is show some reaction. So I typed in, what's happening. I mean, this is Dr. Jill Stein here. Look what she tweeted about this. So Progressive Caucus is so
even
worried
Ryan
about
Graham.
him. Yes, even Ryan Graham.
Sorry, CJ, but we're gonna read.
I saw that. I was like,
even
what?
Ryan Graham says Giant Paul throws staff under the bus. So even he's, bro. When you lose Ryan Graham, bro. Sorry, CJ, continue.
No, because this is what I was getting to, is that this is the first tweet I saw was Ryan Graham's, and I retweeted it. And I never retweet Ryan Graham, but I was so like surprised, like, wow, like this is what's happening, because I didn't know they had withdrawn it. I thought the whole commotion was just that the letter was so weak. And then Ryan, I see this from Ryan, I'm like, what? The letter was so terrible. They're withdrawing crumbs. They're withdrawing crumbs. Go ahead, Nick.
When you lose Ryan Graham,
that says
and now a lot of people, because once again I show you guys some examples of people who like AOC and are soft to AOC, like, yeah, AOC, I think you probably should. Can you please explain the Ukraine vote? Even so, the reason why the existence of this letter is a good thing, because it shows the cracks are starting to form in the West. Mm-hmm. Then they are losing the narrative game. They already lost the global population. They call it BRICS. They lost them. on this they lost the global south. It's literally only the Western colonial powers that is going along with this proxy war and the war against China. Now, let me show you guys, because this is the last point of the segment I want to get to before we move on to some other points. I want to show you guys how far to the right the squad is. I made this point all the time. What? They're like, why are you criticizing AOC and the squad? They're the best that we have. They're your closest allies. In what universe? In what universe? So these are very short clips. So this is what the left looks like in Europe, for example. We play Claire Daly. We play Mick Wallace. We love him. Let me. Sorry, I need to get a new mouse. But here Mick Wallace on the Ukraine conference. So these are rapid fire, very quick clips I want to show, just to show you guys the difference. So AOC and the squad, like, can let's give some more money, like, give them some more money, but then let's please ask them to play nice with it. That's their position.
Наша проблема с Лукашенко в том, что он выбрал одну сторону в военном конфликте, так же, как и мы.
Damn, I thought I had the English version, so I'm gonna play this is the one I want to play, because that one's not even English. I thought it was English. This is
the true definition of
I'll play this one.
How is not selling Kerrygold butter to Russia going to save any Ukrainian lives? How is buying filthy fracked US gas going to stop the war? They won't, of course, because nowhere have sanctions ever succeeded in ending a military assault or achieving regime change. But what they have done is unleash economic devastation. This time round, which will be paid for by the people of Russia, including those out protesting against the war, and increasingly being paid for by the citizens of Europe, facing massive energy price hikes, inflation, and a catastrophic decline in their living standards. Talk about shooting ourselves in the foot.
So I have a question as I continue to finish this clip. Where is the congressional speech given by AOC and Bernie Sanders of them saying this?
Shit.
Do they not give a fuck? I'm asking you, do they not give a fuck about the global working class? Do they not care about all the stuff that Claire Daly is saying right now? Why do we gotta look across the Atlantic Ocean to find this? Let me continue.
Of course, this moral outrage at Russia's illegal war, which has sparked this lunacy, is in sharp contrast to the lack of any such scruples in terms of the illegal US wars in Iraq or Afghanistan, which we not only didn't condemn, but we actually joined in and continue to do business with them all the way. No such scruples about Saudi Arabia's genocide in Yemen. And even as the victims of those conflicts in the last few weeks meet to desperately seek financial pledges for their humanitarian crisis, they're being left short by billions, while we're happy to spend billions prolonging the war in Ukraine. Makes me absolutely sick. 7 weeks ago, German's Chancellor Scholz correctly said, peace in Europe cannot be won against Russia. But that's exactly what we're doing. Yes, Russia bears responsibility for this conflict. Of course they do. But we cannot ignore the role of NATO. And the EU, instead of promoting peace and acting in the interests of the people of Europe, the Ukrainians, the EU citizens, and yes, the Russian citizens too, has become a tool of NATO and the military-industrial complex. What is needed is an end to the conflict, an end to militarism, a ceasefire and a negotiated settlement. We should restore our role as a diplomatic one of promoting peace. Anything else makes us complicit.
Why can't we get this in the West? That's my question.
Because they trying to, like, man, they trying to keep more dominant. Shit, they need, in order for them to have the positions that they, you know what I'm saying, to keep the positions that they have today, they have to, you know what I'm saying, keep the U.S. in this type of role around the world. You know, the bully, the police officer, the pirate to a lot of countries. But this is the position that they gotta keep. You know what I'm saying? They gotta keep us in, because if America really, like, we are losing power, right? The U.S. is using power. The dollar is dying. You know, shit. Rubles, rupees, fucking yang, all that shit. And people are getting ready to go and start their own currency and shit like that. Like, we are losing so much. So I always remind people, like, this is the last hurrah. Like, this is the last hurrah that you're gonna get from the West, because after this war, It's
That's
over.
why they want to destroy the global economy and want to plunge the world into war in order to stop what everyone predicted was going to happen. Everyone knew China was going to take over. They're doing it faster than expected, and they're like, "Fuck, let's just plunge the world into war and let's put pressure on African countries and other countries we provide humanitarian aid to take our position." And they said, "Fuck you." So let me show you guys someone else who
one second. I just wanted to bring up this point because I was just talking to my girl about this. About you see how easy it is for the U.S. to go and prosecute another motherfucker, another world leader. You know what I'm saying? Another president, and hold them accountable for rules that we made up. You know, and as they lose power, our politicians, our lobbyists, you know, corporations, they will be held accountable. Maybe not from American citizens, but more likely from somebody overseas, more likely China, more likely Russia, you know, and they're gonna have to face jail time or get sentenced to death because a lot of people are gonna pay. They're gonna pay, and if America loses the power to actually, you know what I'm saying, stronghold and threaten all these countries, we're gonna see a lot of politicians hung. After they lose their power.
I have one more part of this story I want to share, showing someone else who disagrees with them. Here's Noam Chomsky bringing up a damning fact, that the fact that they hate for you to bring up. I let Chomsky speak for himself because this makes the progressives look so bad. Because I remember when this clip came out of Chomsky, who we disagree with a lot on recent issues, but on the Ukraine war, he's always been good. Like if you look at his old coverage of the Ukraine war, even like around 2014, 2015, he always been calling out EU, US intervention in Ukraine. That's something I learned. I'm like, damn, he always been fucking solid on this issue. So it's no surprise that when Russia invaded Ukraine and this new proxy war started, that he was on top of it. So I give Noam props for getting this issue right. So let's play this clip. And once again, this is the difference between AOC and the squad, and even Noam Chomsky, who is to our right in a lot of ways. But let's play the clip.
Well, there is fortunately one statesman in the United States and Europe who has laid out, a person of a high political figure who has made a very sensible statement about how you can solve the crisis, namely by facilitating negotiations instead of undermining them, and moving towards establishing some kind of accommodation in Europe, maybe in which there are no military alliances, but just mutual accommodation. He didn't say it, but it's something like what George H.W. Bush, the first Bush, not the second, proposed in the early 90s after the collapse of the Soviet Union, proposed what they called a partnership for peace, which would be open for Europeans generally, Eurasians as well. It wouldn't eliminate NATO, but he would live up to the promise that NATO would not expand to the east, firm promise to Gorbachev. Keep to that, allow NATO there, but kind of de-emphasize it so other countries could join, including Russia for that matter, join the Partnership for Peace. Tajikistan joined, for example, not NATO, and move towards a world, a Europe, Eurasia with no military alliances. Actually, de Gaulle had similar vision. Emmanuel Macron, in his initiatives trying to contact Putin, suggested something similar. So going back to the one Western statesman, he didn't mention all of this, but he suggested something similar. Move towards negotiations and diplomacy instead of escalating the war. Try to see if you can bring about an accommodation, which would be roughly along these lines. His name is Donald J. Trump.
How embarrassing is that? How embarrassing is it that the progressives in Congress, Bernie Sanders, are outflanked by Donald fucking Trump. And this was a interview a few weeks ago, like weeks ago. Trump just said it recently on the campaign trail. He said again, he was like, yeah, I think we should advocate for peace in Russia. And I'm sorry, in Ukraine.
Yeah, Trump probably gonna take this election.
And I'm like, and I got no love for Trump, obviously. I think he's full of shit. I think he'll fold under pressure of the establishment like he has multiple times.
Yeah.
But how do you let that happen? You released this weak letter that doesn't even say what Trump just said with his chest. Trump said with his fucking chest, yeah, let's advocate for peace. You guys like, oh, please, let's arm the Nazis a little bit more and then kind of suggest peace, please. You guys see what we got to deal with?
They couldn't even suggest it. They couldn't even suggest.
All right,
you can't even write a letter about it. Damn. Like, no, we're gonna fund these Nazis.
I have one more, and I'll pass it for you, CJ. You can do your next story. Because this rolls perfectly into what I'm talking about. And Rome, I don't know if you saw earlier, but I was explaining, and for people who missed the beginning of this live stream, you guys want to know why the Democrats are losing the midterms? Right now, they're melting down. Like, oh my God, we're trending down. We peaked too early because when the Republicans overturned Roe, people freaked out. And then it was like, oh shit, we might lose Roe v. Wade. So they peaked in the summer, and now they're trending down again. So now they're panicking like, oh fuck. The Democrats are so shitty. They are in a close race with Dr. Oz and Herschel fucking Walker. Herschel Walker.
Herschel Walker. He run?
Yo, Herschel Walker is like only within like a few points of Warnock. Dr. Oz it's unbelievable.
You know how terrible you have to be. You know how terrible you have to be for this Republican party to be under the assault and saying they're tearing away democracy. They got the January 6th committee. They got Trump banned from Twitter. All of this stuff, and they're still neck and neck. All of these things. They got all of the PR from CNN and MSNBC.
They're so bad.
So
Ron, I'll give you thoughts because I want to play this video because I told you guys I've been watching our enemy a lot to show you guys the propaganda they are spewing to people right now. So the message from Democrats right now is ignore the economy, run on protecting democracy, the democracy that we have. You guys know that in China, a vast majority, like 80% plus of the Chinese people got a favorable view of their democracy. If you ask Americans, that number is like 15%. Only like 15-20% of Americans have a favorable view of our democracy. But Democrats like, we're going to run on our democracy, run away from economic issues. And they also saying that if you vote for Republicans in this midterm election, we won't be able to arm Ukrainian Nazis. No, that's serious. Look at this segment. This is only like a 2-minute segment. And I'm going to show you guys the narrative that comes from Democratic Party insiders. I saw this segment, and this shit was hilariously out of touch. Well, look at this.
I'm not going to write.
This from 2 days ago, by the way.
Before we even get into the implications of what this means for Ukraine, what it means for Russia, who is he speaking to?
He's speaking to the Freedom Caucus, the MAGA group in the House that are isolationists, that see us, funding some crazy foreign war, which is, ridiculous. We can talk about that in a minute.
So if you guys don't know what's going on, they are running a segment on MSNBC, the one that people call the liberal outlet, and they are decrying Republicans for not supporting endless war in World War III. That is what this segment is, by the way. I'm going to run it a little bit, and then let's play a little bit more of it.
Are isolationists that see us, funding some crazy foreign war, which is, ridiculous. We can talk about that in a minute. This remark is all about Kevin McCarthy becoming the Speaker of the House, period. Focusing on himself. And you see this, I don't mean to be too harsh on him, but you saw this with January 6th. He was outraged and furious at Trump, but now he's backed off because trying to keep Trump on side is the way he thinks he can become the House Speaker.
And if you're Vladimir Putin and you hear McCarthy say that, what does that signal to you?
It's music to his ears. And look, you mentioned Kherson, like the Ukrainians are making enormous gains. The draft of Russians inside Russia is hugely unpopular, but this is a signal that the West doesn't have the patience to fight Russia. This is essentially the feckless West. That's his view of the West, that we're weak and divided, and there'll be all these short-term political moves. And so it encourages Putin to sort of hang in there. to knock out these energy supplies to try to, get through the winter.
And substantively, if
so you guys realize he accidentally admitted the reason why I said the West is going to lose, right? So if you watch any other MSNBC segment, they would claim that Russia is losing. But when people keep saying Russia is losing, I keep asking them, how? How is Russia losing?
How you guys are collectively, the West are collectively pulling in money and weapons. They're getting shit from Australia. And you guys still ain't win. You guys still ain't get Putin. No regime changes. Billions of dollars, about to send 50 billion more in January. They don't even spend that on their fucking military in a year.
So Russia obliterated, killed, and murdered many notorious generals of the Azov battalions who were famous neo-Nazis. I reported this on this show. Many of the original Azov battalion was completely obliterated. So go a denazification check. Many Azov, and they're still getting that. Why you guys think they need foreign fighters? The original Azov battalion has been destroyed and dismantled. So denazification successful. Liberation of the Donbass successful. He liberated these areas, and now the West, oh my God, they violated international law because they had these referendums, and now Russia ceded its territory. That was their goal. So when people keep saying Russia's losing, I'm like, how? Because I want to explain something to you guys. The West put these arbitrary goals on Russia, where they say, "Oh, Russia is invading Ukraine because they want to take over the Ukrainian state," and Putin was like, "That's not our goal. That's not what we're trying to do." They're like, "Oh, Putin is on a path to conquest. He want to take over Kyiv." Russia said they want to take over Kyiv. Like, nigga, we're not trying to do that, nigga. We just trying to stop. And they're like, "Oh, look, Russia, you guys haven't took over Ukraine yet. Russia's losing."
Like, nigga,
and then at this part, now I'll pass right to you, Ron. But at this part, I'm gonna rerun the video after you chime in. He admits what I've been saying on RBN. What happens when the West stops arming Ukraine? When public sentiment from Europe, because the cold winter hits, when Americans see, like right now, they over $100 billion in Ukraine. People are getting pissed. There's going to be a point where the West is going to be had enough. And he is decrying it and saying, well, Putin wants this to happen. Putin wants the West to be feckless. Because if the West does not fight this war on the Ukrainians' behalf, Russia will win, which is what's going to happen. Germany already ran out of weapons. Do you guys understand? Yep. Right now, it's quite literally only the United States. Europe is out of weapons. How long are we going to keep this up? But go, Ron, I know you want to chime in, and I'll finish the video segment. I
think it's going to go to, they're trying to basically tip people's feet in the water of war. And when they really ready to fight Russia head on and be open about it, instead of just sending weapons and billions, shit, if not trillions of dollars to Ukraine by the time, they're going to try to recruit some Americans, or we're going to have I'm pretty sure we have American boots on the ground. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we have CIA officers on the ground. Yeah. Like, this is not a Ukraine versus Russia war. This is literally the West versus Russia. And they will admit it. They will admit this stuff all the time publicly. But then when we say it, they'll be like, "Oh my God, look at this dude spreading conspiracies." Like, y'all will admit y'all got intelligence officers on the ground. I know, because once again, I am watching their segments. I know what they are saying. I see you, motherfuckers. I see through you. And I'm gonna go back to the video clip, and then you guys will chime in. I know I'm going long, but this is the last part, and then CJ, you can take over. I'm gonna rewind it a little bit back further now and provide it a little bit more context, because this is only a 2-minute segment. So I'm gonna go back in the beginning, so you guys see the propaganda for what it is, and see what they were decrying and saying that the midterm is super important because we will stop funding this proxy war. Look how out of touch they are. I'll let it play all the way through. It's only 2 minutes, and then I'll get final reactions.
I'm not going to write a blank check. But before we even get into sort of the implications of what this means for Ukraine.
His audio? Sorry. I gotta get used to this new mic. Let me fix the audio. Here you go. Here we go.
What it means for Russia. Who is he speaking to?
He's speaking to the Freedom Caucus, the MAGA group in the House, that are isolationists that see us, funding some crazy foreign war, which is, ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And we talk about that in a minute. This remark is all about Kevin McCarthy becoming the Speaker of the House, period. Focusing on himself. And you see this, I don't mean to be too harsh on him, but you saw this with January 6th. He was outraged and furious at Trump, but now he's backed off because trying to keep Trump on side is the way he thinks he can become the House Speaker.
And if you're Vladimir Putin and you hear McCarthy say that, what does that signal to you?
It's music to his ears. And look, you mentioned Kherson, like the Ukrainians are making enormous gains. The draft of Russians inside Russia is hugely unpopular, but this is a signal that the West doesn't have the patience to fight Russia. This is essentially the feckless West. That's his view of the West, that we're weak and divided, and there'll be all these short-term political moves. And so it encourages Putin to sort of hang in there, to knock out these energy supplies, to try to, get through the winter.
And substantively, if there is aid that is denied, which I understand is still an if, what then does that mean for this conflict?
Oh, it's a huge boost for Putin and for his standing and for the Iranians who are backing him and the Chinese who are tacitly backing him. I mean, this, not to overstate the stakes, but this is democracy versus authoritarianism. This is the front line, and extraordinarily, the Ukrainians are winning. There's not a single American life, at least the U.S.
So he says the Ukrainians are winning, but if we stop this unlimited Ukraine war packages, it's a win for Putin. Do you guys see the contradiction here? So Ukraine is winning, but if we stop sending weapons, immediately the tide will turn, and that will favor Iran, China, and Russia. What does that tell you? That tells you that Ukrainians are not winning. This is NATO and U.S. backed war. And then in the very beginning of this clip, he says the idea that we're just funding some kind of war, it's ridiculous. Nigga, you just admitted it. But sorry, let me finish and I'll give you guys a reaction. That's my last interruption. I'll let it finish.
U.S. military life that's been lost in this conflict so far. It is a significant amount of money, but this is an incredibly important sort of strategic struggle. And, look, Mitch McConnell came out and disagreed with McCarthy about this. Mike Pence said the same thing. The U.S. has a history of fighting for democracy. This is who we are. Republicans and Democrats have agreed on this for decades. And now Kevin McCarthy's calling that into question.
See, one last thing. You guys got to understand the code words. So what he said there, that last 15 seconds, the average white boy, the average white American will have no idea what he's saying here. But what he said right there should terrify you. I'm going to play the last 15 seconds again. Those last 15 seconds were terrifying. He is saying we should engage in endless war with nuclear war powers because if we don't, we will lose our standing in the world, and that's bad for democracy. He pretty much said he wants complete U.S. domination. I'm going to play the last 15 seconds again and listen to actually how unhinged his ideology is.
There's not a single American life, at least the U.S. military life, that's been lost in this conflict so far.
Only Ukrainians. He's bragging. There he is bragging. Hey, Americans not dying. Ukrainians are dying for us. Translate how crazy it is.
A significant amount of money, but this is an incredibly important sort of strategic struggle. And, look.
He said it's a very important geopolitical struggle. Why? Why, CJ? Why, Rome? This is the fight for geopolitical full spectrum dominance of NATO. What he talking about, guys? Does this sound like some shit that will help you, the everyday worker? He's talking about this shit is so important. We're willing to tank global economies because they are challenging our economic dominance. So, CJ, I'll pass it to the panel. Any thoughts? Because that is the messaging coming from Democrats. The whole segment was, holy shit, if Republicans win, you won't get war. Democrats are literally running on war. JB, welcome to the show, my brother.
What's good, Jay?
Hey, good to see all of y'all.
Make sure you guys subscribe to JB Font channel, man. What are you guys doing? Let's go.
You do this every time.
Let's go.
You're a better hype man than Flavor Flav. Let me tell you that much.
That all I used to do, man. I used to be in the corner of the fighters I used to fight with back in the day. Just hype it. I was the best corner man. But anyway, JB, what's good? What's good, homie?
Look, I just finished having a stream with Alfeka Maturdi, who is part of the National Infrastructure Bank Coalition, and we were talking about that. But you know what? This sounds like that gentleman, whoever he was, I don't know. I was going to insult him, but that would be beneath me.
What is it is? And that nigga look like one of them.
Rome,
he looked like a character from Meek.
Rome, don't you get me started, because no, I'm gonna rise above.
I was blazing that nigga the whole time.
But here's the thing. It sounds like he's saying we're gonna get the Ukrainians to do our dirty imperialism work.
Yeah.
Yep. That's literally what he said.
And so it's like, okay, so you want to risk the lives of working Ukrainians, right, for imperialistic pursuits by the corporations in the United States. Is that what you're telling me? Because here's the thing. I know that, you have the Azov Battalion and other different military factions within the Ukrainian army that are Nazis. Yes, they exist. But what about the ones that aren't? You're literally condemning those Ukrainians to die for capitalistic purposes, because you guys want to push NATO to the West just so that you guys can place a puppet dictator in Russia, so that you guys can extract the resources in Russia. That's basically like, is that like, I think that's the whole entire crux of the entire argument.
And they also want to
wane for NATO.
JB, I'll pass it right to you, but they also want to wane Europe off of dependence of Russian gas.
Yeah.
They want them to rely on U.S. companies. That's one. They wanted to find a reason to destroy Nord Stream.
Oh, yeah.
They gave them a reason. So, sorry, JB, I want you to finish, and then Rome, you can chime in. I don't want to cut you. I just want to add that context. Go ahead, JB.
Yeah, so with that being said, it's like, okay, they know that Russia has all these resources, so therefore they want to take that over. But also, they also want Europe to, basically send more money towards the United States instead of towards Russia, which means that it's really that the corporations and the oligarchs within the United States are like, no, we want more, so we want Europe to give us more, as well as we want to take over what's going on in Russia so we can have it all. Yeah. And so when you start to think about it in those terms, you start to realize that, number one, because we all know that Putin's a capitalist, right? There's nothing socialist about Putin at all. So that being said, you now have another capitalist on the other side of the world going, no, we're competition. You're not going to take this shit away from me. I'm going to take this shit away from you. You know what I mean? Or I'm going to prevent you from having this. And so the United States is basically being capitalist versus capitalist. That's what it sounds like to me. I could be wrong, because I am not as adept to these geopolitical politics as you are, Nick, but that's what it sounds like to me. And if you please correct me.
JB foreign policy is so fire now. JB came such a long way, man, from when we first had Black Rose Brigade back in the day, man. Yeah. But Ron, you can go ahead and then we get CJ in here.
I was just saying, like, if you can look at the failures of even like from military to military, how they have stuff that can reach us in 5 minutes. They have jets that run at Mach speed. You know what I'm saying? Fly at Mach speeds. That's fucking damn near impossible for the U.S. to create. We got one, but it don't work. And they have multiple of those things, right? Even China have great drones and whatnot and jets. But we gotta we're trying to get those materials, because I was explaining this on a stream. I think this was last year. I was explaining how the Russian military is stronger than the American military, just because we spend more money, you know what I'm saying, on our military. That doesn't mean it's stronger. Doesn't make it more powerful. They can retract resources straight from their land. They don't have to go over here. They don't have to go over there, take over this country just to get these materials. They can just go in their backyard and take it. Yeah, hypersonic missiles, like that's something that we're not.
Whack. Bro, the U.S. military whack. The U.S. military just slaughters civilians. They're like, this is our strategy. We do a military operation. Their military operation literally just terrorize civilians until they bow down to them. But go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, but damn, what I was about to say. But if you can but like I was saying, sorry, brain fart. But motherfucking Russia, they're not gonna let, you know what I'm saying, they're not gonna let this happen. This plan, the reason why the West, America, the US, Europe, because NATO have been making plans to take over Russia for some time now. They have been, violating many, you know what I'm saying, peace agreements and treaties and whatever, just to get to where they are at now. And if they was to stop, you know what I'm saying, if the world would stop funding Ukraine and stop funding NATO, which we should say that this is who they are funding. They're funding NATO, not the people of Ukraine. It's gonna put a clog in their plans. You know what I'm saying? And they don't really, you know what I'm saying? This is going World War III. This has to happen because who's the boss? You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna be the boss? We can't have China and Russia ahead of us. Somebody has to come down. We knock down Russia, we get closer to China. Then we can probably take over, but I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
And one last thing I'll say, I'll pass it to you, CJ, to wrap the segment. Just a thought, because I'll show you guys Claire Daly, Noam Chomsky. Lula also said that we should be negotiating for peace. He blames Zelensky. He's out blaming Zelensky just as much as Putin. That's Lula in Brazil, who shifted to the right, even saying that. So the squad, and I said it on the show before, the squad did not shift the Overton window to the left. They shift what it means to be a socialist to the right. Now you got all these fucking rad libs who are fucking imperialists who only led policy as America for all. Now they say, "Oh, we're socialists," because they like AOC. That's the only thing they did. But go ahead, CJ. You can take over because I know that was quite a segment. I don't know if you're talking to someone, but you're muted. You're muted.
Oh yeah. So let's go to like this video. Last time I checked, we were at 236 likes. We're at 342 people watching. Could we push that to 300? And JB, you came in a little late in Rome, so we didn't get you a chance to get your overall like feeling of the summit we just had. So we'll give both of you a chance to just kind of like your overall feeling of the summit, because that's kind of how we started before the two of you joined. So I'll go to JB first, or I'll go to Rome first, since you just said that, JB.
Oh shit! I think it was a success. I liked what I seen. I was busy as fuck, but I was listening. I heard and seen a lot of great activists come through. A lot of people fighting for great causes, and you know it's great to have people fighting for those causes, right? But like, we are socialists, we are communists. We don't fight for one, we fight for it all. So it's good to have these voices that's out there fighting for that thing and bring them all into one, because this is what we're going to have to do anyway. You know, all of these struggles go together, from black rights, gay rights, civil rights, you know, you name it. Some of our rights that we say that we have is not even law. It's just word of mouth through some motherfucker in the office, right? Look how fast they took away reproductive rights. But yeah, I believe that it's a great start of bringing community together, of bringing communities together throughout the nation, and show that we have solidarity overall, you know, because it's easy to get in these corners and these echo chambers, or maybe get a little fame and then start feeling like you the man. You don't have to talk to nobody. People got to come and talk to you. And like, no. Calm down. You just a regular ass nigga. We all just activists trying to make a better living for the people. So yeah, I love the summit. I think we should do it again. You know what I'm saying? Turn it up. Next time, shit. Maybe next year we'll have cameras. We'll be on the damn streets, you know. So
JB.
So one of the things that I think is good is, and I want all of you to answer this for me. As far as the people who we had on the summit, how many people that we invite on that were big names in independent media? How many big names did we really have in independent media?
I mean, we had
nobody.
None. I don't think we had none.
Nobody, baby.
I mean, they're gonna be like, Jill is a fucking president candidate. Like, okay, well, she don't have a fucking podcast.
Okay. So why did I ask that question? Here's the reason why I asked that question. Because now you're not going to have anybody go, well, you guys just had podcasters on. Like, no, we didn't. We didn't have podcasters on. Who did we have on? We had activists, organizers. That was it. And maybe some people who ran for office, but they were activists and organizers at the same time too, right? That being said, what did we talk about? We talked about the ideas of why they're activists, what they went through as activists, the processes in which they do their activism, and the solutions that they had, and also directing people to the activism that they were doing in various different sectors of our society, right? That being said, solutions were done, solutions were presented, and a lot of times people are like, well, what activism, should I get into? You have a whole list, almost 24 hours of content of different activists, hour after hour, of what you could present with and what you could do. So the thing is that a question that was asked during the summit was, who else is doing this? Because I haven't seen anybody do anything else like this. And so, and on top of it, how many, especially when I talk about the legacy media, how many of them are having activists like this on all the time? How many do they have? So the thing is that this is why RBN is good to, tune into, because activism isn't sexy. It's not, right? How many people are really tuning in because of activism? They'll tune in for this person destroyed that person, right? Which is fine, because sometimes people need to be destroyed. But the thing is that when we're talking about getting to the real root of our issues as to why these things happen, it's good to hear the solutions as well, so that people are like, oh snap, this is popping, let me get out into the streets and help these people out, or let me organize to help these people out, or at least let me be someone who supports the organizers. You don't even have to be an organizer, just bake them a pie. You know what I mean? Some organizers in the street, you know how to make a pie, go ahead and make them a pie and bring them over a pie. You know what I'm saying?
Bring me some weed, like motherfucker.
Bring them some weed.
Damn, after I smoke, then you can bring the pie. That's when you bring the pie. I ain't gonna be hungry if you just bring it.
Fine, Rome. Okay, we'll do it in that order. But that's the point that I wanted to make, is that, it's, pay attention to these topics, especially when it comes to organizing, because a lot of times people come to us and they ask, well, what do we do? And this was a great opportunity for us to show and help people, to direct them to the resources in which they can help their community the best.
Same people. Absolutely. And thank you. We're pushing those likes pretty quickly. Thank you for that. We're shooting for 300. And also join our Substack if you want to get notifications. We're going to be releasing, JB and Rome releasing, and Nick, now that he's back, a lot of the clips. Me and Nick were just talking about that. So you want to join our Substack so that when we release those clips, you'll get a notification. We're going to try. It's 20 segments. Somebody went through and counted them. So I'm going to try. We did 5 yesterday. I probably have 3 more to do today. And we'll try to get, all 20 out there for people can individually
make sure you guys
watch
support the Patreon too, man. Help CJ out, because he put in a lot of work for us. So
it takes work, but it's very self-fulfilling to know that people are able to finally watch these segments instead of watching all of them. So let's get to
man, I ain't watching all this shit.
Let's get to the next part of this sort of presentation against just the spineless progressives. So Nick kind of led the discussion about the spineless progressives that backed down and how RBN was proven right. Now, I want to kind of zero in on, if you notice this whole panic, there's a panic. Everybody's out trying to say go and vote for Democrats. Even Ralph Nader has joined in it. Like, everybody is out pushing this panic. Bernie Sanders has recently put out something. Marianne Williamson, another one. I know Bernie Sanders did something before.
And DJ, we predicted this. Then we remember when we said earlier this year, we said, a lot of people were talking a good game right now. Niggas would be like, the Democrat Party corrupt. fuck the establishment, man. I'm cool, I'm anti-progressive. Remember what we said? We said, wait till midterms come. All these people that be talking good game, they always do the same shit. But go ahead,
they always bow. They always end up bowing. So I just want to take us down a trip through all of the different medias that have been talking about it and how. So I want to touch on Nina Turner. I want to touch on Marianne Williamson, of course, Bernie Sanders, podcast, Pod Save America, AOC. They all have recently been interviewed and went out to say, hey.
Oh shit!
Yes, we're gonna watch this. I think this came out yesterday. Yeah, this came out yesterday. Everybody's out. Every single progressive Democrat is out saying, "Go Democrats!" Democracy is in apparel. We have to do something. Here's Democrats' problem, though, and you can all kind of chime in on this thought before we start the video. Here's their problem: they're in office. So everything that's going wrong, is you. Like, you can't say somebody else. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, the same way that you didn't see the last segment, I was kind of breaking that down for you. The same way I'm gonna be this segment because I didn't see these videos, but I have seen the progressives already changing their tone and rhetoric, and already seeing people doing this. They saying this is the most important election of our lifetime. Yes. Again, every 2 years, the most important election of our lifetime. But go ahead, Roma, CJ.
Rome, you want to chime in before? I'm going to start the video. It gets right into with Marianne Williamson, and these are very short segments. So, like the Marianne Williamson interview, the AOC interview, the stream is an hour, but their segment is only like 10 minutes, so it's not going to be long at all. Let's listen to Marianne Williamson on Unbossed, and if you haven't seen it, guys, go check out. Go check it out.
Don't check that shit out. Don't give her no fucking views.
Go check it out.
I have one of the most fantastic people, a dear sister girlfriend of mine who works on this as a ministry on a regular basis. It is her life's work to open our minds and help us to think and to get to the type of world that we want to live in. She always talks about how we all need some miracles. I want to welcome to Unbossed the one and only Marianne Williamson. Marianne, it's so good to have you here today.
Thank you, Nina. It's always wonderful to talk to you. Thank you for having me on your wonderful new show, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I want to put up, because I just have a whole host of questions for you, but you wrote recently in Transformation, in the headline, America Done or America 2.0.
And is that how she explains how you vote out fascism? Is that the book where is that the book where she explained the process of how you vote fascism out?
I was just about to say I was just about to say what transformation is. So because I Googled it. Shit. The only thing I was able to find, this is the name of her Substack. It's called Transformation. And so, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I didn't do a deep dive into it, but I just simply typed in transformation and her Substack came up and it's called Transformation. So I believe that's where, and I saw this article on there. So I believe that's what she's talking about. It's not a book or anything like that. It's her own Substack.
Taken from the first part of that, American history is like a book in which every generation writes a chapter. Some of the chapters have been glorious, while others have been tragic. The chapter we're in is one in which we're teetering on an edge between the two. It is a time of precipitous decline, and it remains to be seen whether we will create an anti-gravitational force field powerful enough to pull us out of our decline before it's too late. Should we not, this book of American democracy will most probably come to a close. Mary, you didn't.
Let that marinate.
Hold up.
Let that marinate. Go ahead, JD.
Hold up. All right. So I'm going to break this down. American history is like the books which every generation writes a chapter. Wrong, because only some people are able to write chapters. The rest of us are actually have our hands chained and bound. So, first of all, that's not true. Second, some of the chapters have been glorious. Wrong again, because that's a perspective. That's subjective. Okay, that's subjective, because as Black people, if it's been glorious, TLDR, it hasn't. Okay,
I have Black friends, JB. I have Black friends. They're wealthy. They love America. They don't think like you.
All right,
you niggers.
Okay, Rome, let me finish, Rome. You high. Let me finish. I love Rome. I said the chapter we're on is one which we're teetering on the edge between the two. Wrong again. We actually descended into fascism. We've been in it for about at least a good 40 years. You're just in denial. Next of all, it is a time of precipitous decline, and it remains to be seen whether we'll create an anti-gravitational force field powerful enough to pull us out of our decline before it's too late. Number one, we've been descending into this abyss for God knows how long. The problem is that it's more now white people that are descending into the abyss. Just, like we black people have been descending into this abyss since the start of this country. So therefore, now you're starting to feel what we felt hundreds of years ago. And you still haven't felt the full force of what we've been feeling. Should we not, this book of American democracy, what democracy, will most probably come to a close. It must have been closed for a long ass time. So here's my thing. All right?
Get right, JD.
Are in denial about how we have. Do you remember in history class how this country started? Have you remember how this country started? Who was the one who wrote all the laws in this country? Was it women? Was it gays? Was it the people who are melanin abundant like myself? No. Guess what? You still don't have the full rights afforded to you as a woman, Miss Williamson. You want to know how I know? The Supreme Court. That's how I know. Because you were never truly involved in the creation of this Constitution. You know who else wasn't involved? People like me. We were not involved. The entire Constitution needs to be thrown out and rewritten. That's a whole nother thing. And so to say that, oh, we had great times, that's like, for who? For who? And then you're like, oh, we're descending, and now we need this anti-gravitational force to pull us back up. Back up? We were never up in the first place. Like, motherfucker, have you looked at black people? Have you looked at, look, wait, on this channel, literally had to give me $5,000 we had to raise just so that I and my mother won't be homeless. And you want to talk about descending? Ma'am, we have been descending for God knows how long. Look, this is what Malcolm X has said. What you call progress is them sticking 6-inch knife into your back and then pointing out 2 inches. You're glad handing the 2 inches of the knife that's been pulled out. Are you seriously telling me right now that, oh, we can enact progress by pulling out the knife 2 inches? Like, no, ma'am. No. Because here's the thing. You're talking about this progress, but it ain't happening. Like, look. If you want to talk about progress, let's talk about closing these 800 military bases around the world. You want to talk about progress? Let's seize the assets of all these rich people who are literally directing our government on what to do. You want to talk about progress? Let's stop helping and funding the genocidal occupation of Palestine by this fascist state that we call Israel, whom you and Nina are in support of. You want to talk about progress? Let's do world progress there. But until then, please stop lying to the American people. Please stop gaslighting the American people into thinking that they can vote out fascism. The only way fascism can actually be gotten rid of is by the barrel of a gun. I'm sorry. I'm saying it. My inner Rome is coming out. That's the only way you can get rid of fascism. Because the thing is, people saying, look, I have the ballot right here. You cannot use this to get rid of fascism. You can't. You can't. Because the thing is that we've already been descended from it in the first place. Look. Boom. Look. Parenti and Jackson have already been talking about that we've been under fascism for a long ass time. The thing is that some people are still in denial. But guess what? Ma'am, denial is not just a river in Egypt. We actually have to get rid of fascism through collective action. And if you don't want to do it through the violent means, which remember what FDR said, those who prevent peaceful revolution make violent revolution inevitable. If you want peaceful revolution, then guess what? You need to stop giving money to Democratic politicians and start helping us. And look at the summit that we just had. Start giving money to the people who are activists that we had in the summit and start directing their money there. Because other than that, I don't see how we're going to descend from the abyss to the Democratic Party, because they're the ones that pushed us off the cliff.
And oh man, thank you.
I love when they get the Holy Ghost.
Man, yeah, this is power,
hang on. My thing is, and here's what annoys me, is that Nina Turner is using pastor-like language to make it seem like they've ascended somehow because they're in the Democratic Party. Ma'am, please do not use that pastor pulpit type language that Obama used in order to grift us into continuously going into the Democratic Party when they absolutely do not have anything for us, because they don't want anything for us, because they work in line with the Republicans. And you need to recognize that. Please stop doing that.
And I love that you calling her out on this vote fascism bullshit. That's why Twitter took away my downvote, because I downvoted a lot of politicians. So fuck Twitter for that. And the only way to stop fascism is the only way you're going to stop fascism is the way that fascists stop peace. Do you understand me? So yes, JB is 100% right. You're gonna have to kill your enemies. There's no these motherfuckers literally write your name, write your life off. Are we're gonna do a pipeline through this community, through this fucking neighborhood. They don't give a fuck about the natives that's still living here. That descending, I bet the natives like,
Yeah, let's get back to the video.
So straight and no chaser when it comes to the situation that we're in, and the fact that if we do not collectively act, the ending might not be happily ever after.
I don't think I'm seeing anything that millions of people aren't seeing. When it comes to our politics, we're not used to having deep, real conversations. I think when it comes to our personal relationships,
so deep and so real.
The American has deep, real conversations as much as anyone else in the world. But we have all been trained when it comes to our collective issues, our political issues, to think like a bunch of seventh graders. We might tell the truth, but not the whole truth, nothing but the truth. We don't get deep, we don't get real, we don't get direct, and we don't get blunt. This is not a time to think like seventh graders. The political
Sorry. Okay, now I can hear it.
Talks to us like we're children, because that's how it retains its power. But if ever there was a time for us to, as Lincoln said, think anew and act anew. He said,
So let me take this opportunity for all of our, I wouldn't even think our white allies will do this. Stop quoting colonial white people from the past that you think are heroes. Stop quoting them. Abraham Lincoln is one of them. You're thinking that, like we're going to put our hands over our hearts and go, Abraham Lincoln said that. No, we're not. He was a colonialist just like all of them. So you think you're pointing out and you're pointing out somebody good. Stop doing this. You're showing your belief in the white myth of white history.
She's a Western.
That's what you're doing. Yeah, that's what you're doing.
And her statement that JB read, I'll be just real quick, reeks of Western chauvinism. Everything that Marianne's reeks of it. In RBN, we're done with it. But go ahead, let's move back to the video.
As our case is new, we must think anew and act anew. So there's an old conversation which stays within the box of, we just need to tweak things here, tweak things there. But I think millions of people are aware that something is wrong on a deep and fundamental level. And that if we don't begin having a deeper conversation, a deeper level of truth-telling, that we will not remain the way we are. We are either going to fall into the dystopia, descend into an authoritarian dystopia, or we are going to find a way to leap into, once again, as Lincoln would say, a new birth of freedom.
This shit is embarrassing.
I say it, I think a lot of people say it, but I say it out loud because I enjoy the mischief of doing so.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's just a really reflective time for us. I mean, people are struggling. Mary, this is a harsh world right now. We got the war in Ukraine. We still have the pandemic raging. We have people who cannot literally afford their food because the cost of food is so extraordinarily high. gas
Well, for me, I can
prices
do
are
all that
up.
shit. I get all that
I
shit done.
think a lot of folks, and you're out there on the ground as I am. As a matter of fact, you're on the ground all over the world. And can you share with us some of what you're hearing both here as you
Oh,
travel
she
the
said on the
country
ground?
and as you
Hold
travel
up,
the
real quick,
world
just
about how
really quick. I want the video to keep playing. But is she though? Is she on the ground? Because Rome, have you seen her?
No.
Have you seen her around the block?
Shit, I remember she supposed to have came to Detroit and still didn't make it.
What are you talking about, Nina? Where the fuck
Who is she visiting is the question. Who is she visiting? Like if she used to visit Compton, is she visiting billionaire Dr. Dre or she visiting
the
people on the streets? So that's the question. Yeah, go ahead.
You're gonna do an event with Pete Buttigieg. That's what they're talking about. But go ahead.
And then she's gonna do an event with Pete Buttigieg, and they're gonna call that reaching out to the black community.
Reaching out to the gay community.
how the everyday person is feeling about the conditions in their respective communities.
I think a lot of people say, oh, people are apathetic. I don't think people are apathetic at all. I think people are flummoxed. I think people just don't know what to do. You know, the fact that you're having a difficult time or that you're financially disadvantaged doesn't mean you're not doing the same kind of deep thinking that everybody else is doing. I mean, we're all in the same boat together on a certain level in terms of the state of the planet and so forth. I think people realize, as I said before, at least the people I speak to, that something is wrong at the heart of things.
I don't know if y'all caught that. I don't know if y'all caught her pointing out the fact that we are in the same boat. Of course, I'm in a yacht and we're just in the same ocean. I don't know if you didn't just see how she just pointed that out, because she needed to make clear when she said that. No, peasants, don't think I'm in the boat.
You know what she just said? We wind it back a little bit. She just said black kids are just as smart. She said it a different way. She said it a different way. She said poor people are just as smart.
Yeah,
you know, just because you ain't got made for me that. But yeah, all these people, it's the same bullshit. Racist language, dog
when
whistle.
it comes to our politics, we're not used to having deep, real conversations. I think when it comes to our personal relationships, the American has deep, real conversations as much as anyone else in the world. But we have.
Sorry, I went too far back. My bad. There you go.
The everyday person is feeling about the conditions in their respective communities.
I think a lot of people say, oh, people are apathetic. I don't think people are apathetic at all. I think people are flummoxed. I think people just don't know what to do. You know, the fact that you're having a difficult time or that you're financially disadvantaged doesn't mean you're not doing the same kind of deep thinking that everybody else is doing. I mean, we're...
Okay.
Just because you a poor motherfucker doesn't mean you doesn't have the capacity to do thinking like we do over here.
Because you know,
that's exactly what she said.
We are the smart, we are the elite class, but that don't mean the stuff that you think about.
Okay, you dumb lefties. You want to hear a groundbreaking, earth-shattering conversation? Listen to us. Right. Listen to us, smart, intelligent people.
Okay,
we're all in the.
Hang on. Let's dissect that just for 1 second. Okay, so she said basically that we don't have the ability right now to think of these things. But the question is why? Okay, maybe we could if we weren't descended into poverty because of capitalistic pursuits by the ultra wealthy. Because here's the thing, I can't sit and think of these things if I am working 40, 50, 60 hours a week and working multiple jobs in order to be able to sit there and think about the solutions that I would want for my community, because I'm literally working under duress in order to make more money for these capitalists. So that's what it is. And I've actually addressed Marianne Williamson and talked about how capitalism is the problem, but she still keeps denying it. Now, here's the thing, and I want to address this. What is the meaning of duress? I've spoken about this before. Let's talk about it again. The meaning of duress out of the Oxford Dictionary says threats, violence, constraints, or other action brought to bear on someone to do something against their will or better judgment. Duress is synonymous with coercion, compulsion, force, pressure, intimidation. That being said, people are being coerced into not thinking about the things that they need to be thinking about, instead of just being good little workers and producing. They're being under compulsion to do the work basically of labor and not being able to consider a lot of these things, even though a lot of people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And the problem is that we have a system where it doesn't allow them to, named capitalism, but you don't want to address that, Ms. Williamson. So the thing is that that's the problem. The thing is that you're trying to make capitalism into a friendly thing by keeping it within a certain framework and constraints and saying we just need kinder capitalism. The problem is, one of the reasons why capitalism is so bad is one of the reasons why we actually have people sending money to Ukraine. Yep. That's basically it. But the thing is that you want to deny it every single time. Why? Because capitalism has been good to you.
Ooh.
Right, and it's the thing. Here's the hard play for people in her position. People who are, it's that you're trying to say there's a way to fix the problem without addressing capitalism. And that's why you keep having this issue. That's why you keep having sort of these contradictions and, oh, support this party. It's a contradiction because you are refusing to attack capital. And that's because that's part of your, that's your class. But
I love that JB broke it down, because the working class do go through this. Like I flip people in real life from the streets of my family, and most of them don't have time. Like when I do my events in Detroit, I try to call everybody to try to see if they can get a day off or when is their day off, to try to schedule around my family so they can actually be involved in a part of socialism and communism, because they want to do this. They want to call themselves communists, but they don't have the fucking time. My mama worked 2 jobs, still got my sister, take care of my other little sister, got my brother, and my sister-in-law got her kids. There is no time to actually fight because everybody is just holding on by thread, holding on by strings, and we just, we don't have the time. You might sit and think about it like, man, fuck America, fuck this, fuck that, but you don't have time to go out and put that shit to the ground. And this is the problem with people who do have the time and the resources to do it. They don't care. They act like they care, but if they cared, they would really bring wealth. Not only their propaganda, they will bring wealth and real change to our communities. They will actually try to uplift us, liberate our people, no matter whatever we're going through, whatever your community need at the time. But they're going to do this to make themselves richer. She would not put herself in a position to make herself poorer. No way.
At all. And that's probably the case for a lot of professional managerial class, while we have a lot of problem with them. Make sure you like this stream. We're at 324 likes. Let's push to 350. Let's get some more people in the chat, because we're about to start going in on some of their favorite people here. This is the number one hero in the hero worshiping world of the progressives. The one you can never say nothing about, but he is again, and it looks so terrible to me because it almost feels like they're not even asking Bernie Sanders to go out and campaign and say these things. Yes, he's just doing it on his own. He's just saying, I see there's a need. You guys are terrible. This is what he's doing. You guys are terrible. You're not delivering, so they're not going to come out and vote. So I got to go and put my name on the line and bring these people out to vote so that we don't get Democrats.
Yes.
That's what it feels like he's doing. Let's listen. This is a very short clip that he's making. He made it yesterday. I was going to do this stream last night when he dropped this. This is Bernie Sanders making another video trying to get more people to come out. So the progressive panic is in full mode.
Oh no.
These are not normal times. This is not a normal midterm election. This is the most important.
Bernie, start off.
Have you seen this, Nick? Have you seen this, Nick?
No, I have not seen this. I promise
you already knew.
You already knew. If you're gonna put your finger on my ass, bite off your nail first, nigga. Lick it. Don't just come out and just do it. God damn, boy.
These are not normal times. This is not a normal midterm election.
Most important.
This is the most important midterm election in the modern history of our country, because we are taking on a political party, the Republicans, who literally are trying to undermine American democracy. They are trying to make it impossible for women in this country to control their own bodies. And at a time when we face the existential threat of climate change, they could care less. They're working with the fossil fuel industry. And in addition to all of that, at a time of massive income and wealth inequality, when the richest
this
people
motherfucking hypocrite right here, my nigga, you funding war. You fuck. All right, I'll give you that. Republicans are backing these oil companies and tycoons and whatnot. Democrats just gave them millions and fucking acres of land and a whole new and more money. Right? Not only that, you are funding the motherfucking the army that pollutes more than anything, more than anybody in this fucking world. You are the biggest hypocrite, Bernie. Check it out. Go back, take your ass in the house. God damn, somebody get grandpa. Because he too out of touch. Even if he's not out of touch, I give Bernie this. He's smart. He know this is just as well as we were talking about earlier. He needs to keep his position of power. Bernie Sanders is one of the most powerful men in the world compared to other first world countries. He, just like a lot of our politicians that signed off on war, that signed off on sanctions, that signed off on billionaires getting their way, are gonna fucking be held accountable. More likely not from the American people, but from China, Russia, Iran, and the people that they have put this shit, they have put through the gutter and the blender. So yeah, hell yeah, keep my motherfucking position. Hurry up and, you know what I'm saying, vote for Democrats so we can fund this war, so we can keep white supremacy, you know what I'm saying, and U.S. hegemony across the world and across the board. Because this was going to save my life.
Go ahead, JB, if you were going to talk.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get flack for this. So the opinions of JB do not reflect the overall opinions of RBN. Putting that out there first. I am going to blame all the progressives within the Senate, including Bernie, as well as the House, for the red wave that is coming on November 8th, and it's coming. They are to blame because they refuse to force a vote. And I'm not just talking about Medicare for all. I'm talking about any vote that actually materially helps people. They refuse to actually put their nose to the grindstone on this. Why? Because they are in obedience and they are following the lead of the corporate Democrats that they say that they're against. How in the hell are you going to talk shit about corporate Democrats and say how bad they are, and yet you follow their every lead?
Bipartisanship.
You are by default corporate too. You may not be getting the money, but guess what? You are reaping the goddamn benefits of them. You can be, and it's just like a little kid that parents make millions of dollars, and then they live in a really nice house. They got a really nice room. They got all the benefits of it. Guess what? You're rich too. You're getting the same amount of, you're getting the money from the same people that your parents are getting money from too. And now you're following the same thing. So guess what? This red wave that's happening is on you. It's not on the American people.
No. I think it's RBN fault with their 23,000 subscribers. And Nick, how many subscribers you got on Twitter? Like 60 fucking thousand. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fucking fault. You're the reason why millions of people is staying home, not us being right.
I mean, phenomenally richer and working people are falling further and further.
But here's the problem. Guess what's going to happen? Once this red wave comes, who's going to get blamed for it? It's going to be RBN. You guys were too bad. You guys actually went against the Democrats and you allowed the Republicans to actually win. No. The Democrats just switched places. They did not lose. It was on purpose. All this is going to be on purpose. Watch. Red wave's going to happen. It's going to be on purpose. And then guess what? No, and the progressives are going to be like, oh, well, because we went too far to the left. No, motherfucker. It was because you guys threw the game. You threw the game because you guys are in cahoots with the people that you're in opposition to. And people need to wake the fuck up about what's going on. Because guess what? The progressives are Republicans and the Republicans are progressives. It's all one and the same. And people just need to wake up to it, including Bernie. Bernie is the establishment. I said it, and I will die on that hill. Come after me if you want to. I won't read them in the chat anyway.
Further behind. You know what Republicans want to do? They think it's a great idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 0.1%. I'm not kidding. They want to repeal the estate tax entirely. They think it's a brilliant idea when seniors can't, in Vermont, all over this country, can't afford to heat their homes in the winter, can't afford prescription drugs. You know what they want to do? They want to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. That is insane, but that is really what they intend to do if they gain control over Congress. Now, I know that a lot of people today feel overwhelmed by all of these crises, the pandemic and climate change, and the attacks on democracy, everything else. I know that. And I know that there are people who are disappointed that the Democrats in Congress have not done more to stand up and fight for working families. I got that, and I share that disappointment. But let me just tell you, if we do not come out and vote,
I hear your disappointment. I hear you. I feel your pain. I feel you. But shut the fuck up and fall in line.
I lost my fucking now.
You guys realize that's what he said. He said, "You know that pain. I know the economy is hard. I know the Democrats lied to you. They're not doing anything. I know the police is beating the shit out of you. I know things are tough. But shut the fuck up and fall in line, boo boo. we doing it my way."
He's not giving up. He's not giving up, but he's seeing the polls. But let's continue a little more, and then there's probably a few more videos to play here.
Yeah, let's.
I just want to ask the audience.
What you're looking at.
I just want to ask the audience, how long are you going to let these guys negotiate with your lives? Oh, this is on the ballot. Reproductive system on the ballot. This is on the ballot. Gay rights on the ballot. Black rights on the ballot. Shit. I don't know about y'all, but I ain't standing for this shit too.
All right, let's finish the video.
Yeah, it's infuriating. I was just about to type that to your response, JB, and I'm just gonna say it right now. It's infuriating. It's infuriating in that private chat there. It's infuriating. So I don't need to tag it. I just tell it to you because
is a turn in American politics far, far, far to the right, which will impact every aspect of our lives. So what I hope.
Who has went far? This is rhetorical. There's no way to get through this. Who has moved far to the right except for the squad and their voting and Bernie Sanders and his NATO voting?
Very much is in the remaining 2 weeks of this campaign that we go out and we do everything that we can to increase the voter turnout, to knock on doors. You got 2 of your friends to vote who otherwise would not have. You've tripled.
I know you hurting, but knock on doors. Shut the fuck. He just said, I know you hurting. I know you poor. I know things are hard, but go knock on doors. Shut the fuck up. Go play the video. Do you guys understand how unhinged that is? Come on, just play the video. God damn it. It is hard to get through.
This election is not just about you. It's not just about me. It's about our kids and our grandchildren, and we cannot fail them. So let's get out and do everything we can to win this thing in the next 2 weeks, and let's go forward together. Thank you all very much.
Win this thing? Who's winning? What do you mean?
Win what?
That's like when James sent that tweet where he was like, "We gotta go out and win." I was like, "We, nigga, even if Democrats win, how are we winning? Like, even if Democrats, if there's a blue wave, how the fuck does that change our life?" So what are you talking about?
What are we winning? The fact that you're in office is a win. The fact that we didn't let them get to office is how they're calculating it's a win. And you know I had to bring up Khanna now.
Oh my God.
I'm head out.
Bye. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm about to grab my squares. This nigga.
Yeah. So Case Study QB, shout out Case Study. He was just with us with all of our summits he's been on. But he curated this clip here from Khanna saying Democrats' messaging on midterms should be that we're doing a great job as people are as our house is burning, figuratively, around us. That's what he's saying we should be doing, or the Democrats should be doing. Let's listen to this progressive panic but he's trying to give a positive spin to it.
I imagine you're going to tell me, sir, that it depends on the particular race.
Sure, but I would say, Katie, overall, that we need to have a better, sharper economic message. We have a lot to run on. I call it a new economic patriotism, which is that Democrats are bringing manufacturing back home. We're bringing back supply chains, and that actually is going to help tackle inflation. A CBS poll said 63% of Americans believe the cause of inflation is that we're not making enough things in America. And the Republicans are running on tax cuts for the wealthy. That's not me putting words in their mouth. Kevin McCarthy has said they want to extend Trump's tax cuts. Well, we saw how that worked out for Liz Truss, who just resigned. It led to basically the bankrupting almost of the British economy. We need to frame this as an economic choice election.
You went to some places that were traditionally very blue and are now pretty red, and they feel like they've been left behind by Democrats. Their voices weren't heard. Globalization ended up hurting them. And when you went there, according to the Politico reporter who was following you around, there were a lot of folks who weren't really excited that you were there. They thought, what is this congressman, lawmaker from Northern California doing here talking? This is a tech person. Why is he over here in manufacturing? Talk to me about what you told them and the response that you got.
Well, I said that we made a big mistake as a country. And while I think the Republicans and Reagan were to blame, the Democrats share our blame as well. And that was that we let production go offshore. It was a Silicon Valley, actually, person, Andy Grove, who helped.
We let production go offshore, or did Joe Biden, Bill Clinton ship production offshore? You see the framing that he's trying to make with the person, JB and Nick, who's actually in office, who is the architect or is a big proponent of shipping jobs away, of shipping manufacturing away. But now he's trying to... So what progressives are doing, they are specifically, and Bernie's doing this, and this is why I wanted to do this segment, is that they're being put out to specifically go get the groups of people who have given up on the Democratic Party, like Black people, like young people specifically. Bernie Sanders is being deployed to bring those people back that have been disaffected and have said, I'm done with the Democratic Party. Bring those people back. And you can see it in all these interviews. We're going to get to an AOC interview she just did on Pod Save America. But what is your take? What is your say on that, JB? It looks like you're pondering something.
JB about to get the Holy Spirit again. Go ahead, JB.
Fuck me, you called on me. God damn it. Okay. All right. They're trying to make it seem like, oh, us? We were doing what we were supposed to do. Mm-hmm. But it's just the Republicans are the ones that are preventing us from doing it, even though we had the House, the White House, and the Senate in control for the last 3 years. It's like one person said earlier, gaslighting. And for Khanna to go, oh, well, we made a mistake. It's not a mistake if it's intentional. That's what people need to realize. It's not a mistake if you meant to do it. No, they meant to do that shit because they made money off that shit. Just ask Khanna and his wife. They meant to do it. They meant to do it. So when somebody like that comes to you and go, well, you guys just need to vote for us so we can keep things going the way they're going. How are the way things going, Ro? Mr. Khanna, how are things going? Because if you look at the last 3 years, you know what's sad? The fact that the Death Party, the Republican Party, actually had better economic terms on when they were in power than when Democrats are in power. That's the crazy part. And they're the Death Party, and they're doing better than you? You guys actually got outflanked as far as the quality of life of Americans by the Republicans? that, guess what that means? It's an op. Because guess what? The Democrats make you think, oh, we're going to do better things. And then they let everything go to shit. Once everything goes to shit, then everybody goes, well, I guess the Republicans are going to be better. But the Republicans, guess what? They, in front of your face, give things over to the corporations even more, which means that we descend further and further into fascism. And so guess what? That ball player may have not made the layup on the court, but they were the one that passed it to the player that makes the layup on the court. In sports terms. So that's what the Democrats are, right?
Yes, yes.
Basically, the Democrats are Pippen, and then they passed it to Jordan. I hate to use it this way, but forgive me. But they passed it to Jordan, who are Republicans, and Republicans put it through the hoop. That's basically what it is. But here's the problem. All the other players on the court that are actually supposed to be fighting are a bunch of kindergartners. And so nobody can actually really contend against them because nobody actually has power against them because they're being held back. Because, look, we can talk about people who are independent and Green Party, but guess what? They're being held back. By who? The Democrats and Republicans, because they don't actually want to get there. And then on top of it, those of us on the outside that are actually trying to do protests and organizing, guess what? Whenever we try to do that, then guess what? Then they make it so that we can't protest because they make protesting illegal. They make actually doing organizational actions illegal. So guess what? Now our hands are getting tied more because the Democrats and Republicans basically do not want you to be able to stop them from giving more money to the corporations. So really, people like Khanna, Bernie Sanders, AOC, Mark Pocan, Muriel Jayapal, all of them are in cahoots with the corporations. They're not actually fighting for us. And the thing is that they're bullshitting you into making you think that you're going to change something by voting more of them in, when really, no, you don't.
JB, look, I might have sold off like 90% of the manufacturing in America. It was a mistake. I got a lot of money from it. My bad. My B. I take that L, My bad.
President Joe. That was a slip. So I wanted to kind of just say something about what JB said, or piggyback off what JB said, because for those liberals, how are Democrats complicit? They're not doing this. This is how if the other main choice are fascists, and you don't make yourself a better choice so people can clearly pick you, you are complicit. They are descending into fascism. You want to say that, right? Fascism, we're going to lose it. You aren't providing a better choice for people to clearly see fascism versus you. Medicare per all would do that. Defund the police would do that. Cutting the military budget would do that. Investing in the communities here. This is how you're complicit. This is what we were saying earlier. How is it that this close and you have Trump on trial in many different states? You're calling them fascists. You got documentaries coming out and you're this close to them? How is that possible? How is that possible? Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say they competitive with Dr. Oz and Herschel Walker.
That is you know how ridiculous that is to be competitive, and this is what it is. Now, this next video,
so hard, bro. If they lose fucking Dr. Oz and Herschel Walker, I swear to God.
Herschel Walker, bro. Herschel Walker, bro.
The running back, nigga. The running back.
Herschel Walker.
The running back.
Are you like, what? What the fuck are you talking?
Nigga, what? The one who had multiple personality?
So Case got this video, right? And I'm gonna let Rome talk before I play it. But Case got this video right here where they're really trying to get people to believe that Joe Biden is gonna codify Roe v. Wade. Like, he just pulled this shit out of his hat. He just now pulled this out, and we are to believe. You remember when it first happened, and people were like, "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" And they didn't have no plan, and then they came out with this plan because it's some lame plan. How come they didn't say then? You know what? We're gonna codify it. People were asking. But now when the polls are terrible, when the proxy war that they tried to use the messaging to turn things around, unite the country by going to war. Remember that. That's the reason why they started. Hey, let's push this instigation more, because the polls were very bad, and they thought, how do you bring a population? George Bush did the same thing. How do you bring a population together? You go to war, but it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work. So Rome, go ahead, and then I'll play the video after you chime in.
I was just gonna say, what kind of government, like you voters, who's gonna tune in and probably in one ear out the other? How in the fuck are you gonna get fascism out? Like, for real, like, stop all the bullshit, stop all the games. We're talking about people who take people's lives for money, you know what I'm saying, for gain, for power, etc., etc. How do you take those people out? How do you get those people out of power? What kind of government would let fascism run its course and gain power within its ranks if it's not already a fascist government?
Rome, are you telling me that capitalism is not going to give us the tools to dismantle itself? What? Are you telling me that they're not going to be that nice to let us use this old system to demolish? What?
Everything's going to be all right, Nick.
Sorry, Rome. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, I really don't see the game plan. I don't see the goal. You know what I'm saying? I see the game plan, but I don't see the goal. Because you're going to them with ballots. They putting their militias on the grounds with guns. They're sending their police officers out there to stop the protests, to shoot you guys, either with rubber bullets or real bullets. So how you figure these people are just going to play nice one day? Like, oh, well, they don't like me. I guess I'll go away and just, they can have all the billions of dollars that I stole from them. And yeah, this is going to happen. People don't like it, so it is what it is. No, nigga, you got to take that. Y'all going to get yourselves killed. You're going to get yourselves hurt. And it might not be in a revolutionary way. It might be longer, but your pain, you're going to feel it. All these corporations making bank. How many trillions of dollars they just made during the pandemic? How many trillions of dollars they took away from the people? All right, then. Y'all people are going to get yourself hurt playing nice with these fascists, saying, hey, calm down, writing these people letters and wagging a finger while they are literally writing your family off. They probably have plans right now to build a fucking freeway through your goddamn neighborhood. And what you gonna do? No, I'm gonna hold up a sign.
President Joe Biden vowed that the first bill he would send to Congress next year would codify Roe v. Wade if Democrats can expand their control of Congress. In a speech at a DNC event yesterday, Biden doubled down on abortion rights as a voting issue for Democrats this November.
If you care about the right to choose, then you got to vote. That's why in these midterm elections are so critical. Elect more Democratic senators to the United States Senate and more Democrats to keep control of the House of Representatives. And folks, if we do that, here's the promise I make to you and the American people. The first bill that I will send to the Congress will be to codify Roe v. Wade.
During that same speech, the president also addressed gun reform, promising to revive a ban on assault weapons if Democrats can expand their ranks in the midterms.
With your help, we've delivered enormous progress for the nation. The most significant gun safety law in 30 years. And by the way, if you give me a Democratic Congress, we're going to ban assault weapons again. I did it once, I'm doing it again.
It's like you ever see a matador, right? He has it and he's just trying to get the bull to come through the red, right? So that's what essentially happens every election. They go like this, and the matador is a voter. And they're just shaking shit in front of us. Oh, where'd this assault rifles ban come from? All of a sudden, magically, 2 weeks before the election, they can promise all of this stuff. How are people still buying this, Nick, JB, and Rome? How are you buying this? That they're saying they're going to codify Roe, but when it happened, they wasn't saying that?
Yeah.
They're saying it 2 weeks before the election? Go ahead, anybody.
Hold up, CJ. You mean to tell me the same niggas that decided to come out to support Henry Cuellar, who is anti-choice Democrat, and you mean to tell me, oh, you're going to try to codify Roe v. Wade? Ain't that some bullshit?
Joe Biden himself. Joe Biden himself.
Right now. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all right now. This is a bunch of psyop bullshit because you know what? If they really wanted to codify Roe v. Wade, they have over 50 years to do it, but they didn't want to do it because they want you to come out to vote for them, donate money to their Act Blue, $27 to their Act Blue, so that they can get all that money once again because the Democratic Party is actually a corporation that actually wants to just skim money off of you. Then when they go back into office like you wanted to codify Roe v. Wade, then they're going to say, well, the Republicans are blocking us and so we can't do it. So I'm sorry, we can't codify it, because they use it as a tool to get you to donate the $27 to their Act Blue. It's been y'all been shafted. Are y'all sick and tired of getting fucked? Because I know a lot of us are. You guys really need to stop it. Look, they are fucking you with a cactus dildo, baby, and just without lube. And y'all need to get off of it, because that's exactly what's happening. And every single time they go, oh, well, Roe v. Wade is on the ballot. Pro-choice is on the ballot. It was never on the ballot, baby. Just like my rights as a gay man are not on the ballot, because guess what? It was never voted on in the first place. We only got it through the Supreme Court, which also means that can be overturned too. And guess what? They're going to dangle that right in front of our faces too, and try to make us to vote for Democrats once again. Are you guys sick and tired of being hoodwinked and bamboozled? Stop.
If you didn't get it if you didn't get it while they was in office, you shouldn't go and vote for them for the same fucking promises. That's the definition of insanity. Listen, you are insane. You might not know it right now, but you are insane, and it's going to take some time to get out of those loops. But if we didn't get it during the Obama years, we didn't get it during. We're not going to get it during from this motherfucker, because he said it himself that he don't think a woman body is hers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know where they stand.
People forget that video that Joe Biden did. People forget, like, he don't care about this.
Well, people can change, CJ. People can change.
That's true.
Okay.
Not Joe Biden at the tender age of 65.
Always gonna be homophobic. You always gonna be homophobic. Nick, you a fucking bigot. CJ, I don't know your background, but I'm gonna find some shit on your ass. Yeah. They can change. We can't. The proletarian can't. These people are elite.
Can we take the time to appreciate the grand irony of these Western chauvinists and these capitalists running elections to save their abortion rights? You want to know who has abortion rights? Russia. You want to know who passed sweeping LGBTQ legislation? Cuba.
Wait.
So it's almost like socialist countries, and when you have, it's almost like our countries devolve, and now you guys fight for rights that the generation before already fought. You guys know why? Because capitalism is an inherently regressive ideology. Neoliberalism enables the neo-fascism that you guys are fighting now. As long as you got neoliberalism, you had neo-fascism. You have the culture wars that constantly get brought up. Why? Because the ruling class relies on these social wars to keep the workers divided. Why do you guys think Herschel Walker running on a strong pro-life, anti-choice platform? Motherfucker literally threatened his ex-wife to have an abortion. This is widely publicized. So the reason I bring this up is these rich people don't give a fuck about abortion. They don't care about gay people. They out on their yachts having gay orgies. You can see they are gay people.
Fun though. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little fun, but
no, it's not like a gay time. I'm saying
But the hypocrites are doing shit.
I'm not judging that. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying they don't give a fuck. I'm telling you guys, Donald Trump was literally pro-choice his entire life. Then he was like, "How did I get power? I'm gonna become a reactionary to pit the workers against each other." Now all of a sudden, this motherfucker's a Christian. You guys see how it works? This is the system that we live. These things are not accident. Q was just on here during our Marxist panel displaying this. You guys think that the relative conditions that we live in, the culture that dominate our society, just sprung up out of nowhere? Like, oh my God, we losing abortion rights, and that's random. No, this is the result of the ideology of our country. This is the end result of capitalism. We in game late-stage capitalism. In late-stage capitalism, what happens? The rise of reactionary fascists.
Yes.
Like Q said, things you see what happened in real life is not random. It's based on historical events that we can analyze through material analysis. Like, this is just basic theory that so many people on the left just forgot about. And now they think they can vote fascists about. But go ahead, CJ. Let's continue.
I have David Pacman. This is a very short clip. It's 4 minutes, but it's part of the presentation that we're having. This is the first time we're playing David Pacman. But I specifically went to his channel because I was like,
CJ trying to challenge me on my drinking or something, man. Because God, I'm going to drink after this show. What the fuck? Man?
Yeah, listen to this though. This is about vote shaming.
Oh, Jesus
number
fucking
is 2192 David P. You can call anytime and ask about anything. Here is a really interesting question that relates directly to what I was just saying about the voters of Georgia.
Hi, David. It's James. I just wanted to know, how do you feel about voter shaming? I know that, a couple of things. Kyle and Mike Figueredo and a few other people. I think the Young Turks are generally against voter shaming. Like, they don't criticize Trump voters because they voted for Trump, but they'll sometimes criticize people who voted for Trump because of the wall or because of, the fact that he said ban Muslims or, Mexicans or rapists and all that. How do you feel about voter shaming? Do you think it's productive? Do you think it's fair? Or do you think it's better
that Muslim travel ban, by the way? Just real quick, that Muslim, they said Trump banned Muslims. Was it true? But Obama did the same fucking thing. Mm-hmm. Obama put in a Muslim travel ban as well when he was bombing Syria and Libya. That's something that liberals always forget about. Trump followed an Obama precedent on that. I just want to add that content, but let's continue the video.
What do you know? Because I basically I want to find out the best way.
Okay, yes, right. So so listen, there's two things going on here. All right. If you're asking me, do I think it's in bounds, so to speak, for on programs like mine to be very frank and candid and direct about the fact that there's a lot of dumb people in this country and many of them don't know what the hell is going on. And they're just bamboozled by these politicians with obvious lies and they fall for it and they vote for them. And how do they even put their pants on in the morning? How do
you guys see the scorn of the workers that the professional managerial class has? But look, keep the video playing. I just want to add that. I want to keep it playing. But look how obvious it is. This is why we have disdain for these people. He thinks the reason why you don't vote for Democrats is because you're dumb. Not because the policy they implement that affect our lives. Joe Biden's policies has hurt my lives. I've explained this many times. The bankruptcy bill. I was a victim of the bankruptcy bill. We are victims of the crime bill. We all know someone. So we have substantive reasons. The Palestinians. Look at the Palestinian Community Network. Look at Ashley in her face, the one who spent fire this weekend, and tell her that she has no good reason to oppose the Democrat Party. This is what this guy is saying. This guy is saying, oh, these dumb workers, they don't even know they're voting against their own interest by doing what he's implying that they're dumb by not voting Democrat.
And then, like, you can't, inside of these two parties, this one is for that caller. Hopefully he sees this one day. You cannot vote shame anyone. Your party funded Trump's wall. Your party actually protects Trump in court against sexual advances, his sexual advances. They protecting this man. They are advancing a lot of his things. They are advancing on a lot of his on his policies. So miss me with that voter shame. The only voter shaming you can do is from the left. If you're not voting anymore, if you're out of that's the only time you have the right to vote. Other than that, all of you guys are funding Nazis. All of you guys are gentrifying our neighborhoods. All of you guys are arming people that we don't want to be armed. Y'all are giving billions of dollars to corporations, to oil tycoons, giving them land. All of you guys are the same. There is no fucking voter shaming. Yeah. If anything, you should be ashamed of yourself. Look in the mirror. That's where the shame should be yelled towards your damn self. Because you've been upholding white supremacy just as much as open white racists in the Republican Party, and just because you're quiet with your racism doesn't make it any better, nigga. And fuck David Pacman.
So my thing is, and I want to say this, is that just because someone has been fooled or propagandized doesn't make them dumb.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us were propagandized and fooled, but are we dumb?
Right.
No. Some people who are smart can be fooled. So for you to say that some people in the country are just dumb, really, that's very elitist, David Pakman. Very elitist of you. And this is why some people do not want to view you or watch you, because you come at it from a very elitist perspective. Some of us, like me, never went to college. Some of us didn't go to college because we didn't want to get into debt. So, but does that make us dumb for believing some of the propaganda that's been pushed, not just by Republicans, but also by Democrats?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that maybe you're the one that's propagandized, but does that make you dumb? I want you to think about that and maybe switch your language. I know it's tone policing in a way, but at the same time, look, stop calling people dumb, because the thing is that there's nobody's truly actually dumb. They're only just propagandized or lied to, and they believe the lie, unfortunately.
See, my thing is like, bro, if you want to say this, like, I'm not even gonna tone police me. Say what you believe with your chest. I am here to expose to you guys, people with Marxist class analysis. This is how they think, and they accidentally expose themselves all the time. So I don't give a fuck about what tone David Pakman takes, but look at what he says and what that means for his politics, where he just attacks workers who don't support the two-party duopoly as dumb. But let's get back to the video.
But listen, and listen to the 3 categories of voters he said they are. That's and you tell me it doesn't apply to liberals, doesn't apply to the people voting for the Democratic Party. Let's listen.
How do you balance a checkbook if you are so ignorant about just basic things you're being lied to on? I have no problem as a commentary on this program saying stuff like that. And in fact, I've said there's really 3 main groups of Trump voters. There are people who just don't know what the hell is going on. They don't know. They don't know what Trump policies are.
That applies to Democrats. That applies to Democrats.
Yeah,
people who don't know what's going on.
They don't know anything. And they were kind of like tricked. They stumbled into voting for Trump. There's people who are what we might call like bad people. They do understand the Trump policy, and they understand all of the things that happen as a result, and all the people that Trump policy is terrible for. And they say, I like it, and I'm going to vote for him anyway. And then you've got the third group, which is people who vote for Trump out of some selfish priority. Well, yeah, I understand exactly who and what Trump is, but his tax plan would say, I'm going to vote for him.
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead. You say that. No, all of us are ready. All of us ready to attack that shit. So go ahead.
I see where you're going. No, CJ, I'll let you take it because I see where you're going with this. It was perfect. You described exactly Democrats, but go ahead, CJ.
No, that's exactly. All of us are gonna make the same point. This is exactly the Democratic Party. Who are you talking about? Go ahead, Rome. Go.
That's why I said there is no voter shaming unless it's coming from the actual left. You can't sit here and say like people was tricked into voting for Biden. They said this the most important election of our life. We got to stop fascism. Blah blah blah. And he get in. He's no better than Trump. Actually, a lot of people that voted for this man, I talked to him. They say that he's worse than Donald Trump. They have gotten less help from this administration than the Trump administration. So yes, people were tricked and tripped up and whatever. That goes for all of you fucking idiots. All of you, every last one of you voters. That means locally to electoral. I don't care because all of your parties are the fucking same. All of you people are. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna just hold my tongue on that because I'm going to call it.
Think about this. How many black people, and I think we all can say the same, right? At some point, stop voting for the Democratic Party once they realize what the crime bill was, right? So that go over the first part. Well, there's some people that vote for Trump because you don't actually know his policies. The same thing will go for Democrats. There's so many people that have no idea that Barack Obama was dropping bombs on hospitals. They have no idea that Barack Obama dropped so many bombs, he ran out of bombs. They had no idea about and the thing is, people think American people are dumb, but I literally would tell ordinary, normie people I know in real life, I'm like, do you know that Barack Obama destroyed Libya and turned to and then people were like, yo, what? And then the average person, because people inherently want to do good, they're like, yo, I don't fuck with that. So a lot of people vote Democrat, just like you said, because they don't know the evils.
They don't know.
There's so many progressives that apologize for the Democratic Party. Apologize for Jim Crow Joe. There's so many people, and I had a conversation, a funny one on call-in with this guy, and I was like, do you really believe that Donald Trump killed and affected more black people than Joe Biden in his career? And he was stumped and like, almost like he would never even consider that question. And it's like these things you guys don't even consider. Like the Democrat Party, they have policies that hurt our communities. And then go to the other part where you're talking about. He said there are also people who vote for Trump that knows what he's doing is bad, but they benefit from him. Who are we talking about here? We're talking
about managerial class.
Yes. We're talking about the anti-military Democrats. We're talking about the Zionists. There are Zionist liberals who know that Jim Crow Joe and the Democrats are war hawks, but they're like, I'm gonna vote for him anyway because at least they support Israel. they be like, well, I'll support with them because at least they support my social issue. I don't really care if they're bombing Africa, they're enacting regime change, they're sanctioning other countries. They're starving millions of Afghan women and children right now. I don't really care. That doesn't affect me. That's the same thing David Pacman just chastised Trump voters for doing. And just because we are ideologically consistent, this is why we reject the two-party duopoly, because the two-party duopoly leads you down this train of thought, which is poisonous for liberation and revolutionary discipline. I'll pass it to you guys. I know one of you guys probably want to chime in.
Yeah,
go ahead, JB.
I want to say this. You know, the fact that he called people stupid, you can say that a lot of people are ignorant. And why are they ignorant? It's because that's intentional, because the Democrats and Republicans intentionally want to keep you ignorant so that you don't know what's really going on. And the thing is that from what I see is this is just the blind leading the blind, because that's exactly what David Pacman is doing. He's a blind man leading the blind people. But here's the thing, David Pacman, I see that expensive sweater that you have on, which leads me to believe that you actually have enough funds that you can sit at home and actually think about the things that we're talking about. So with that being said, okay, you could actually find out that the Democrats are as imperialist as they are and are intentionally leading us down the wrong path, but you don't want to, because if you do, that means it ruins your gravy train.
So he's category number 3. I saw that. He's category number 3. Selfishly trying to participate.
Holy shit! That's David Pacman in that video. Sorry, CJ. Sorry.
No, that was perfect. That's perfect.
Oh shit, CJ. Yeah, we can get this video. I have another segment I can do as well.
Yeah, this will be the last video because I gotta get going in pretty soon too. But so I wanted to kind of round it out. I'm gonna cut out a couple of videos just for time's sake, because there's a bunch of videos of them out, and maybe we can loop back to AOC in a little bit to show her little 10-minute video. But let's play this part, and this loops back to what you were referring to in the previous segment, Nick. This is the actual scene where the guy is saying, if we elect Republicans, our Ukraine money may go away.
Yeah,
that's what this means.
Yeah, there were so many segments. I just pulled one, dude. Guys, they're saying this all over corporate media. And we just pulled a few of them. But go ahead.
This is Case Study. He curated this. Shout out Case Study. So let's listen. 3-minute video.
On Ukraine, a rift in the Republican Party burst into view this week when we heard from GOP House Leader McCarthy saying that if the Republicans take control of the House in November, that there won't be a blank check anymore for Ukraine. There's been some pushback from other Republicans, including those close to Senate Leader McConnell, and the White House is wary of this and suggesting that they might be behind a significant lame duck package that could be passed in December to prevent this if the GOP does take control. Give us your analysis of this debate, and also just how.
So I do want to interject this, Nick and Rome and JB. I don't know if this is a way of sort of telling people, hey, there's going to be another real big package that's coming in lame duck. Yeah. Like this is their way of announcing that's what's coming, or if they're really trying to say that Republicans are gonna bring, gonna really decrease the amount of money going to Ukraine. But think about that. They're preparing us for a huge Ukraine package in fear that Republicans won't fund it the right way. That's the Democratic Party. And
they wonder why they're losing. And they
right. That's the Democratic Party. So let's finish.
And they are selling. They are selling. You know, they are selling this vision of the GOP being anti-war to people that's politically illiterate. Like they don't know any better. Like, oh, what? Oh, Republicans don't want war. I don't want war. Like it's gonna. They're doing this to themselves, but it's for a reason anyway, because we already know powers always switch every 4 to 8 years. They don't always keep their power for that long. And then for 4 more years, they'll be voting y'all favorite progressive in again and all this bullshit. So it's just a vicious cycle that we're going to continue to go through. But I just wanted to talk about, like, if you can rewind it a little bit, I mean, right to the first second. I want to talk about this headline. Right here. This is why we are fucking with Iran. This is why. It's not because of women's rights. Our women don't have rights here. You think this shit about a hijab? This is why they ready to go after Iran, Russia, and they want to throw a regime change in Iran right now. It's not because of, like, come on, man. Like I can't wait, because who's going to hold America accountable? Who's going to come and hold America accountable for the shit that we have done to our citizens? Hassad gasses people. We gas our protesters. Who's going to hold us accountable for it? It's just hypocritical all down the board. But, oh, man.
Let's get to the video, yeah.
Yeah, his hairline is fucked up. I ain't going to lie. That bitch shiny as
On
hell.
Ukraine, a rift in the Republican Party burst into view this week when we heard from GOP House Leader McCarthy saying that if the Republicans take control of the House in November, that there won't be a blank check anymore for Ukraine. There's been some pushback from other Republicans, including those close to Senate Leader McConnell, and the White House is wary of this and suggesting that they might be behind a significant lame duck package that could be passed in December to prevent this if the GOP does take control. Give us your analysis of this debate and also just how worrisome this could be. The White House doesn't think that the GOP would, if they take control, completely stop funding, but the packages would be smaller and slower. What impact could that have?
Oh, I think it would be disastrous. Now, what you have are a classic isolationists on the Republican side who basically said, why are we spending over there? Let's spend it all.
No, that's the same language that
obviously
he
we can
used in
and
the other
should do
segment.
both. We did it
I'll just be real
through
quick.
most of our modern history. And then you
No, just real quick. You notice he immediately went to isolationists. And I played the video clip, and that guy said the same thing before as well. He immediately went to Republicans are isolationists. Do you guys think that these people, do you think that a coincidence that they just so happen to be on the same wavelength? Or is that military industrial complex talking point? So that's what, if you are calling out the military industrial complex, they call you an isolationist. Like, no,
all of these bills have been signed by Republicans also. So what the fuck is they talking about? Now, you might have some big Republicans coming out against it, but overall, they want war in Ukraine just as much as Democrats do. So miss me with this bullshit. Last thing you're going to sell me is GOP being anti-war. The fuck?
You've also got the fellow travelers with and the question is whether the Republicans will come out. I think the idea of getting a big package through now makes some sense just for that reason. But a big package will only buy you, 6 months, 8, at that. And this would really pull the thread on the fabric of NATO. And so if you do have Republicans reducing significantly packages for Ukraine, does anyone think that wouldn't have ripple effects in Europe? Does anyone think that the Italians and the Germans and the others?
No, you can keep playing. But I want you got, he literally admitting it. He said, we stop funding it. If we stop funding the Ukraine war and stealing your taxpayer money, he said it's over for NATO. It's over for Ukraine. So you can't say it's a Ukraine-Russian war if you admit the only reason there's a war is because the U.S. is funding it. What do you call that? You call that a proxy war. And they would deny it when we say it. They're like, oh, you're using Putin talking points. This is Ukrainian self-determination. Fuck out of here. Let's
you can't be using definitions to describe words like that.
What this crisis has once again reminded us all and shown is that things happen with American leadership. Without it, they simply don't happen. We can't act unilaterally. This has been a collective effort, but none of this collective effort would have happened without us taking the lead, not simply with our voice, but in this case with our wallets and with all the military equipment. If Europeans basically see that we're not going to last, this would have tremendous implications for what happens in Ukraine. Putin would be encouraged. This will reinforce his view as that time is on his side. Plus, around the world, what do we think the South Koreans would think? Or Japan, or Taiwan, or American allies anywhere, or the Saudis even, whatever. This would basically be a message yet again that America cannot be counted on. That it's dangerous to put your security in American hands, because sooner rather than later, they're going to turn on you. They're going to change their policy. So what's at stake is not simply what's going on in Europe, which is enormous. The security implications of Ukraine pushing back against Russia, the message that you can't take territory by force. I actually think we are going to put a lot on the line. It's already there because of Trump. People didn't know if the Trump years were the aberration or the new norm. What's so dangerous about what McCarthy was talking about the other day, it'll send a message that the 4 years of Trumpism, rather than being an aberration, were actually a harbinger of what's to come, of an America that's no longer consistent and not be counted on. I don't mean to be melodramatic, but the stakes here are enormous for how the United States is perceived around the world.
He says I don't need to be melodramatic after being melodramatic, but I'm gonna let you describe what this is, Nick, because this is just hair pulling, just nonsense that they're trying to frame not funding this war in this way. And I'll let you chime in, Nick.
He might as well be giving an evil speech there. Like, can you just like that was like a Dr. Evil level. That's because my mind decolonized, so I know what he's saying. So it's unbelievable to me that the liberal listen to that and be like, oh man, that's a national security expert. He's essentially saying that if you are advocating for peace and you're actually fiscally responsible and you don't want to arm Nazis to an unlimited amount of money, that you're some sort of evil, out of touch isolationist. No, your position is out of touch. The average American person wants the U.S. to pull out of foreign affairs. When, unlike what he said, and he said he had a good point, and he didn't even realize it, where he was like, other countries realizing that if you do business with the United States, that they will get burned. Yeah, that's the point. Who pulled out the Iran deal, sir? It wasn't Iran. It was Donald Trump in the United States. It was the United States and the Ukraine that violated the Minsk Accord and the Minsk Agreement. So it's the United States that violated the one China Taiwan policy. It's the United States in the West that constantly crosses the red line. And then when the country retaliates to protect their sovereignty, then they say, oh my God, look at this warmongering authoritarian. No, you guys are the one who breaking treaties. And I want to transition to, this is a very quick video because it fits into what I'm saying. Jeffrey Sachs, based as fuck. I don't know why they keep giving Jeffrey Sachs these speaking positions. Like, you see him on corporate media, and he's this guy who constantly telling the truth about U.S. imperialism and U.S. crime. So he said this recently that fits into what we're talking about, why Africa, why BRICS is being established. The majority of the global population is rejecting Western hegemony, rejecting the dominance of the United States, because Africa, the global South, has seen relationships with the United States burn them. Unlike China, which made their relationships are thriving, they are building, and they have a mutual beneficial relationship. Yeah. So this is Jeffrey Sachs. This is our last video today, exposing who the United States really is and why we had the politics that we are. So I'll let the video speak for itself because it's actually really good.
The most violent country in the world in the 19th century, by far, was perhaps the most democratic or second most democratic, and that was Britain. You could be democratic at home and ruthlessly imperial abroad. The most violent country in the world since 1950 has been the United States. It's been by far involved
Jeffrey,
in more
stop
wars.
now.
Let's
Wait, do you guys see what happened there?
Stop, hold on. Don't tell me like that, Jeffrey. No.
Yo, I don't know why they keep inviting this guy, because he like this is some fucking oligarch capitalist fuck boy conference, right? Look, it's a decade of democracy. China,
TV
Russia,
calls murder my house.
Athens Democracy Forum, sponsored by the New York Times. So all these shitlets got together, and then Jeffrey Sachs dropped this truth bomb on them, where he's like, the most violent country in the world is the United States. Do you guys see why we focus on the United States? Now let me go back. Let me play that again, because Jeffrey Sachs spits and he tells the truth, and then the moderator panics. You want to see that again? And then I'll give you guys thoughts. I won't rewind a little bit.
Democratic or second most democratic, and that was Britain. You can be democratic at home and ruthlessly imperial abroad. The most violent country in the world since 1950 has been the United States. It's been by far involved
Jeffrey,
in more,
stop now. Let's Jeffrey, I'm Jeffrey, I'm your moderator, and it's enough.
Okay, I'm done.
Fucking shitlets.
And then the crowd applauds. So the moderator has a meltdown because he accidentally let Jeffrey Sachs have a moment of truth to the audience, which is a gaffe in Washington when you accidentally let someone tell the truth. So then the moderator melts down and tells, stop right now. Stop exposing our Western chauvinism. Stop exposing our America, the land of the free. Stop exposing her.
This is weird because wasn't Jeffrey Sachs one of the people instrumental in helping take down the former Soviet Union and creating it into a capitalist hellscape that it is? So this is weird for me because I'm learning that Jeffrey Sachs was instrumental in Russia becoming what it is today and helping, Boris Yeltsin becoming, in power in order to create Russia to be more capitalistic. And yet now you have Jeffrey Sachs going and saying, nah, the United States is actually the most violent country in the world. I'm like, what?
I mean, the facts is facts, man. You can't sit here and say all of these wars, we made peace from all of these wars that we've been in. We can't say that, the world is better off from what America has done. Libya, Syria, like, come on, man. Do I really have to name these fucking countries? And some of them that we are still in today. Yeah. We're still in today. So, looking at the ratio of the wars being started for compared to other first world countries, yes, America is the most violent country, even to their citizens, even to their own citizens. We got the majority. We lock up like what 12% of the fucking population or some shit. Like that's fucking huge. We don't even have a billion people here. We don't even have a billion people, and we got more people locked up in our jails than China and Iran and what?
Well, we have 25% of the world's prison population.
Yeah, 25%. And that's even worse. God damn. Yeah, this is a horrible place.
Yeah. Can I make this point really quick?
Yeah, go ahead, JB.
Yeah. So listening to Richard Haas earlier, and the guy who interviewed him, because he said that McCarthy said that there will no longer be a blank check for Ukraine. My question, really, this statement is, they can give a blank check to Ukraine, but not the American people.
Yep.
They're more concerned with giving Nazis money than giving more money to even people like me who are disabled.
And
that tells you something.
They always say, oh, inflation, but now inflation has hit. They're saying, oh, you can take one for the team. Take it on the chin.
That's why on the Marxist
not
panel,
in a good way.
That's why on the Marxist panel on the activist summit, we will explain to people the whole like people think socialism is just when the government does stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not true. Like all governments does stuff. And then you have these same people who are saying, oh my God, China, Russia, socialism, it leads to authoritarian governments. Look at this country. Yeah. How do you vote against the Ukraine aid packages? Mm-hmm. And look at who they give money away to. Look at the class they uplift under the capitalist system. They uplift and give corporate bailouts, and they give money away to the rich. And that is the mandate set by the capitalist class because they control the means of production. Meanwhile, under a socialist government, under a communist government, we control the means of production. So when we give ourselves health care, that is mandated given to by the people. So the most rampant version of authoritarianism comes through a capitalist state. Because the capitalists own the means of production, and then they do stuff like give giant giveaways to their capitalist friends that we cannot stop. Let me ask you guys this question. How do we, in a capitalist democracy, vote out Goldman Sachs? Look at the UK's new prime minister. Literally a Goldman Sachs bootlicker. Every single election in my lifetime, and I'm being generous, but let's keep it simple. In my lifetime, Goldman Sachs won every single election. What election has Goldman Sachs lost? They do not lose. That is a capitalist dictatorship. When you cannot vote against corporate bailouts, when we cannot vote against endless wars, when it's designed by the capitalists, because that's the end, that's the highest form. Imperialism is the highest form of capitalism. When you can't vote that out, when we can't stop Ukraine aid no matter what, that shows that we live in an authoritarian, anti-democratic hellhole, which is capitalism. That's why we oppose capitalism, because we want the most democratic form of government, the dictatorship of the proletariat. That's my final thoughts. JB Rome, we almost 3 hours. Do you have anything you want to add with no rush? But we can wrap up soon. But anything you want to add before we get to the end?
Well, I want to get to some of these comments and super chats if possible.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure if you guys went over
this.
This
is a super episode. You know, after we had a day off after the activist summit, we're back. You know, we're back again. 3-hour episode.
I'm not sure if you
went way longer than what we intended.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if this is what you guys read this yet, but Big Cat's Corner says vote progressive no matter who is horrible. All love to RBN fam and community. Let me see. Matt Peter Port says thanks for the cringe warning. Bees Quimby says poverty and precariousness are so psychologically damaging, and it is on purpose. It's coercive. Thank you so much for that.
Here's CJ, by the way. Sorry, JB. I just want to give you guys an update. The reason why CJ dipped, you know, I thought this is a long episode. He had families that are good too. Wife had a flat. So that's why CJ dipped out. So, you know, we get content all the time.
Yeah,
so
I hope she get well.
Make sure you guys like and share and subscribe. Once again, we got great guests coming up. We got great shows coming up. So, but go ahead, JB.
Okay. You see, Send a TX says Bernie will be stumping for Liz Cheney. You watch.
No, they're gonna stump for Pete Buttigieg. Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
Zoya is life. Is in the
Zoya's
chat.
love. Zoya's life. The MVP of the activist summit. Let's go.
Yeah. Zoya said, on this date in 1914, the Bolshevik Party, led by Lenin, rose up in revolt against Russia's Republic's provisional government, sparking the civil war that, after 6 years, led to them being victorious. Thank you so much for that, Zoya. And then Tulsi Gabbard is a psyop. I want to address this. They say, if you think both parties are equally bad, will RBN take credit for helping get rid of AOC if Tina Forte wins?
No. They take all credit for that. This is we don't have, even though we are on the internet, we have some type of fucking whatever the fuck on the left. People don't know about RBN. We can't take that type of credit. The credit is due to her and the rest of the squad for failing to provide for the people and at least enough to get them back out there. All they have now is just promises. So all that blame is due to them. You can blame them. We have nothing to do with it.
So if Tina Forte wins, then AOC needs to take the credit for that because she's the one that failed her district and the American people. It is not those of us that literally pointed out that AOC hasn't been doing what she said she was going to do. Because she said if she said she was going to do, then guess what? Tina Forte would not have a chance in hell. But guess what? AOC let it happen. She allowed it to happen because she's part of the problem. So guess what? We can't take credit for that because go ahead, please.
This is my only response to this. Only response to this needs. why the hell should we Marxists get invested in the popularity spats between two capitalist parties? I'm asking you, why should we get invested in that? They have these fucking dog and pony show, these sham democracy that is literally a glorified sporting contest. Why should Marxists be invested in the spats between two capitalist parties on their electoral system? That's my question. So whether AOC wins, whether Tia Forte wins, I'm gonna laugh at whoever loses. I don't care, bro. Like, I'm not caring about who wins these elections between these fucking imperialists and capitalists. But go ahead, Rom. I know
we already know the fix is in. They already said the fix is in a couple of months ago for her. Like, she's not gonna lose. If anything, they're gonna give you guys a scare. You know what I'm saying? But they control all that bullshit, man. All these elections are bullshit, and they let people in who they want in. You know what I'm saying? And even if AOC lose, she will be back in a couple years.
I don't think she's gonna lose, but
if she loses, she's going for a higher seat. That's it, and she's gonna get elected there. They don't go back to the hood. They don't go back to activism. No, they go up. Politicians lose. You know what I'm saying? It's that revolving door. Republicans hold the power for 4 years to 8 years. Democrats hold the power for 4 to 8 years, and then Republicans hold the power. It's that same fucking cycle, just locally, and we're gonna see it. And even if she loses, she will be back.
And it's just like I said, and I kind of said this in a joking way, but it's true. What was the guy that AOC actually beat in 2018? What was his name again? God, what was his name? The person who AOC beat.
Joe Crowley.
Joe Crowley. Yeah, thank you. So my question is, what is the difference between AOC and Joe Crowley? You want to know? Race and gender. That's it. That's the only difference between them. Because if you look at what AOC has done, what difference has she really did differently than Joe Crowley?
The voting
rate. That's the difference. And so everybody's talking about, oh, well, you know, we can't prevent a Republican from getting in. Well, guess what? She's making it so that it makes it easier for them to get in. That's her own fault. So yeah.
I gotta head out, guys, because we're about 3 hours in.
Yeah, I gotta call weed, man, because I'm fucking out, boy, and this shit stressed me out. CJ been fucking with me, man, putting all these goddamn shit libs on the camera and shit. I'm like, this motherfucker got
JB, what you got coming up?
Okay, so for this Thursday, be sure to check in, the Savvy and JB show. We'll have something good for you there. Also, I'm going to be doing my reading for Michael Parenti as well as George Jackson, so stay tuned for that. But on my channel next Tuesday, stay tuned on my channel next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to have on Margaret Kimberly, Auntie Margaret. She's going to be coming on my channel, so we're going to have a nice conversation there. I can't wait for you guys to see that. Also, I just hit 2,000 subs on my channel. Thank you so much to everybody who, who was came in and they trusted me enough to be part of that. So I appreciate that.
No one has a more substantive channel than JB. He ran theory. He did foreign policy breakdowns. He interviewed
works and shit.
No one has a better channel than JB. So y'all need.
There's plenty of people.
JB, if you wasn't gay, I probably would have been mad. I called my girl listening to you sleep. I'm like, is she listening to this nigga sleeping?
What in the hell?
So I look at her phone, your ass talking, reading a book and shit. I'm like, is she really listening to this deep ass nigga voice? Man, look at this nigga gay out. Throw this damn phone. But no,
we got a lot of good shows coming up. We got a lot of clips that we're gonna post. I'll be on call-in tomorrow, so we have a conversation on probably the same topic that we talked about today. Glenn Greenwald, no, he's controversial, but we're gonna talk about the Ukraine war and the progressives selling us out and a few things. He does a good job covering Brazil, so we talk about foreign policy. So that's Thursday at noon, and then Thursday always a good day for RB. And then we have Savvy and JB. Thursday's probably our best day usually. Then CJ probably gonna do a show after mine. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up. Great stuff coming up. Rome, last thoughts. We got coming up.
Yeah, I'll be back on this motherfucker pretty soon. Actually tonight the GoFundMe should be up, but I'm gonna fundraise on. I have too much shit going on. I got the event on the 31st. I actually kind of forgot about. I got an event going on the 31st. It's a coat. It's a coat giveaway. Now I'm probably about to go get some blankets in a couple of days. We're gonna be barbecuing. We're gonna have music. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna be doing free haircuts for the homeless. It's gonna be a great day.
That's gonna be fire, man.
And we are also still working on building the library. We have the building down packed. I don't have to worry about.
I'm about to go out there too, man. When you get the library starts popping, I'm gonna go out there and help you try and get it started too.
Oh yeah, man.
That's down the road, man. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna go out there and help y'all and the crew.
Need all hands on deck because I'm building I'm doing everything by hand. Only thing I'm not doing is laying.
I'm gonna down help if I can.
Yeah,
like we can get some money. I'm gonna try to get down there.
Oh yeah, but we're gonna definitely kill this, man. It's gonna be dope. Hopefully, I can have that GoFundMe up tonight for the library. We're gonna need at least 50,000 to get enough bookshelves to get the shit up. We're gonna redo some piping and some plumbing, replace the carpet because it was an old church, so it smelled like a church. Like, you know that church smell? Like what's that one flower?
I gotta head out. JB, you can I gotta head out.
All right.
I got it. I'll close it down.
What was that? What's that one flower that smelled like a damn church? Eucalyptus. Like it just smelled like a big ass eucalyptus in that motherfucker. But we got to get rid of that church smell. You know what I'm saying? Get a whole bunch of banned books in that motherfucker. I'm hoping that we can really, you know what I'm saying, reach the community with this and just push socialism as much as we can, man. Push communism as much as we can in a good light, you know, because there's a lot of pushback on this. A lot of random people, they see bad things going on. Oh, this is communism. We're going into communism. Like, I always ask these people, look, if we was going into communism, at least you will have a fucking house. You will have healthcare. Like the people that lived under communism wants communism back. Y'all already vote. They already did their little vote on that, and et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, but anyways, we're going to get the shit popping, spread out our propaganda, our message. Hopefully, we flipping more people. 2 more days, I'm going to be building another bench in Detroit for 6 Mile and Gratiot. And once I'm done with that corner, I'm going to be building some benches, some basically fuck the police benches around the police department. We're going to put at least 2 or 3 around the police department because the bus rides through it both ways, rides through it both ways, and there's no actual bus stop for you to sit at. You know, bench right there for you to sit at. So it's gonna be nice, man. We're gonna be pushing out a lot. We're gonna be going hard this winter. It's gonna be a long winter, and it's gonna be harder on a lot of people. But this is why, you know what I'm saying, I figure we vamp it up because we're at war, people losing their house. You see people in the West are protesting everywhere, and they gotta know that there is a better way. There is people fighting for a better day, and we will lead to see that day. But Ari, I'm talking too much. Let me get the fuck up out of here. I need to go smoke.
All right, man. Love you, man. You have yourself a good one. Everybody, make sure to give a like on the way out, as well as make sure to subscribe. Thank you to all of us people who have also donated to our Patreon. We thank you so very much. Me and my mushy ass, I'm gonna say hugs and kisses to all of y'all and leave the world better than you found it, and 4 kisses more to every single one of you. Love you.